Good afternoon, everyone. It is Wednesday, August 13th. It is officially 5:06 p.m., and I am calling this meeting to order. Work session of the Board of Trustees for the Incorporated Village of Port Jefferson. Clerk Perillo, would you please confirm the presence of a quorum?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Mayor Shepro?
Present.
Thank you. Trustee Giuliano?
Present.
Thank you. Trustee Franco?
Present.
Thank you. Trustee Hill?
Present.
Thank you. Trustee Ugrinsky?
Present.
Thank you. Mayor, I'd like to note that Attorney Moran and Treasurer Gafka are with us as well.
Thank you for noting that information. Now I would like to ask Trustee Franco, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nice flag.
Thank you. Look at that flag. Yep. Hooah. All right, we have a special visitor today, not unfamiliar to anyone in this room, but a welcome visitor who tends to spend half her time or a third of her time or a quarter of her time, how much time, in Albany. This is Assemblywoman Rebecca Cassay, and she asked if she could, she's making the rounds, I guess, and would like to discuss what's happening for the 2025 New York State Legislative Session. So, come on up. Use Sylvia's microphone. No, don't. No. Yeah. Stevens is fine. Trustee Franco might have questions for you.
Okay. All right. You can all hear me? Scoot over towards it. Everyone online? You're good? Sorry, my back's towards you. Yeah. Okay. Well, good evening. Thank you so much for having me. As my staff and I were putting together our summer and fall agenda for the office, I asked them to reach out to our local villages and see if I can pop into a meeting to introduce myself, which obviously is, I could keep that part short here, because being my home village, and so happy to be here, but also just to refresh on what an assembly member can provide to you as village officials, but also village residents, and then touch on a couple of successes that happened at the legislative level in the first session in 2025 here, and then open up to questions if there's anything that you have, burning in your minds, but also open the conversation ongoing, obviously, should any village staff, representatives have any questions moving forward, I am here to serve you as well. So I'll just kick it off. We've been having stakeholder conversations here in Port Jefferson. We met with the fire department, the school district, the civic, and the ferry as well, and we'll continue to have these conversations just to, again, introduce myself and then hear what their major concerns are and try to take all those puzzle pieces in the end and put them together and see how we could all work together most effectively and what I can do from the state level. This year up in Albany, we were able to, it was my first session, but I was able to bring home some pretty big wins for our residents here especially. One that I want to highlight is that the funding had previously run out for the state giving reimbursements to homeowners who were replacing their cesspool systems or septic systems with the advanced, the IA septic systems. And so that previous amount was $10,000 per replacement per homeowner, maximum of that for the project. And so I put in a bill to have that reimbursement rate brought up to $25,000 per project, maximum of $25,000 or 75% for the project cost. And so that was passed in both houses and signed by the governor a few weeks ago. So that is now law, and that program is now open. The state set aside $30 million for this program altogether, and I secured $20 million of that for Suffolk County alone. So $20 million is a lot, but it's going to go fast, and so I'm urging any individuals and then fellow representatives to let folks know to go ahead and apply for this as soon as possible. We are in a priority area, being near the shoreline on the North Shore here, so They would just go through, the county is administering this program. If they have any issues finding that resource, they could reach out to our office. We'll be happy to connect them. But that's a great homeowner cost-saving mechanism that we're able to bring home this year, and also, of course, an environmental win for the area with all of our water quality issues that we're looking at. These advanced septic systems take more nitrogen out of the water before it goes into the ground, and so that'll help with algal blooms and issues like this as well. So really excited to let folks know about that.
Is that through, can I ask if that's through DPW, or is that through the Planning Commission?
At the county?
Yeah.
I think they have I forget which division it's under, but they have someone handling just this. Emily, my chief of staff, Emily, is here.
Hi, Emily.
She will clarify for us.
Okay.
But they have someone who's managing this grant specifically, so.
It is under Public Works.
Public Works, yep.
It's called the Septic Improvement Program.
Yes, thank you. So the Septic Improvement Program, you could find that online, the county's website, or reach out if we could be of help applying. But please do, if people know that they need to replace that, do it sooner than later. Don't want the money to run out, and then people to feel like, that's $25,000 that they could have had. So, here the cost of living is not getting any lower, anytime soon, unfortunately. We're working on that. But this is a way to bring home some money for our residents, to make sure that if they have these home improvements, that they can do that. So the another big win was a bill that I started working on as soon as I got in. I reached out to my colleagues at the county, as well as folks at village levels and chambers of commerce and other people who've been working for well over a decade on trying to electrify the Port Jefferson LIRR line. I actually just spoke to a woman a week or so ago who said that she bought her house in Port Jeff Station in 1979, and they told her, in a couple of years, the line will be electrified. And so here we are, fast forward many decades, and we're still working on it. One of the issues that was identified for me was that the DOT, a state agency, had to grant an easement to the MTA, another state agency. So I said, well, that sounds like a state representative problem to tackle, in order for the MTA to be more, to be more interested in signing this $10 contract for the 40 acres that they're being offered by the Suffolk County Land Bank in order to build a rail station that is electrified. So that I took that as one of my tasks for the session. It seemed like it should be so easy. But something I've learned in Albany is that something that seems easy is probably the least simple thing that you can go ahead and dive into. But, in working with the different agencies and working with the governor's office as well, we were able to really impress upon them the importance of making sure we're locking in this opportunity to electrify the rail line, both to meet New York State's climate goals that it's set for itself and businesses and individuals. I said it's only fair that the state be following its own agenda and make sure that we are decarbonizing our rail yard as well. And in addition to that, making sure that we are electrifying so that we could have that one-seat ride finally from Port Jefferson all the way to the city, not having commuters or folks who are taking the train for leisure getting on and having to transfer in Huntington, which has many of us driving to Ronkonkoma in order to have that one-seat ride and more frequent rides as well. So, we were able to, it was the very, very last bill of the 2025 session that passed because it kept falling off the table and I kept putting it back on the table. And many of you know how insistent I can be on some issues. And so, bringing that skill up to Albany and was glad to get that passed. We're now working with the governor's team, hoping that she's going to sign this sooner than later so that that contract can move forward with the MTA. I offered to pay for the contract myself, the $10. Nobody's taken me up on that, but I'll go on the record a million times saying I have the $10 ready if that's the holdup at any point. So that's something that we're excited about and we'll continue working on. If at any point it looks like further encouragement from local municipalities or groups would be helpful for the governor, I can let you all know if it's something that you're interested in as well. I was also given the opportunity to bring the Speaker of the Assembly, Speaker Carl Heastie, out to the district to tour one or two sites of interest. And the first site that came to mind for me was the Port Jefferson Fire Department. I really wanted him to see firsthand what our fire department experiences in extreme weather events, and how that, though it hasn't impeded their ability to serve the public, how it's a major inconvenience, and if should there be an even more severe weather event, how it could really get in the way of fully protecting life and property in our community. So I brought him out. We toured the fire department with the members there, and showed him where the water comes up to in the fire department, all the lengths that they've had to go through to try to waterproof, and still every time it rains, they fear they have to move all their vehicles, and so we were able to secure them $65,000 for a feasibility study that they had requested to see if it's possible to relocate to the top of the hill at Myrtle, right across from St. Charles there at the old Crayon Building site. So that was something that they were actively looking into. They had told us we just need the money for the feasibility study, so we're able to deliver that. And then, so that's, can go ahead and move forward. Obviously, that's the smallest part of that ask, because the second part of that conversation was also the, $30 million or so that it's, would take to actually build a new fire department there. And so the speaker told us that he would speak to the governor about perhaps putting a budget line in for our community and communities like ours, where our emergency services are being impacted by climate issues and flooding and all, everything that impedes our emergency services from supporting our communities, and seeing that would help offset our local tax burden as well. So that's something that I was very glad for him to see, and he was shocked, and he asked all the same questions that we've asked over the years, like, well, can't we just ... Can't we just move the water somewhere else? Can't we? And I said, listen, we have federal level folks looking into this at this point, but no, this, and explain the whole Drowned Meadow history and everything there. So they're very aware of it. The governor's team is very aware of it as well, and I will continue working with them and everyone to make sure that we're supporting them in their work. Speaking of big dollar items, I've also met with the school district. Obviously, one of their biggest concerns is the Child Victims Act settlement funds. I believe it's 18 million, 16 million. That is currently, they're staring down the barrel at that. And so, of course, we want to acknowledge the pain and suffering that the victims have gone through, and get them the compensation, and also do so without our current community or students being left lacking because of the money that will be going out the door for those settlements. So I've been working with my colleagues up in Albany to explore what kind of avenues there are. We discovered that there's a liquidated insurance bureau at the state level. It's not taxpayer dollars, it's actually monies that are paid into by insurance companies. It's almost like insurance for insurance companies in a sense. And so they have a lot of liquid that's largely, I'm going to get too technical like I always do. Anyway, they have a bunch of money, and we're looking, we'll be introducing legislation soon to direct them to figure out a way to help offset the costs of Child Victims Act settlements, for districts, school districts, and especially with districts like ours and mine, where we're such a small district, and already having trouble, making sure that bathrooms are ADA compliant and everything's safe in the school, and now to have $16 million on top of that, that they're looking at either if they would have to pass put out a 30-year bond or something, but having that fall squarely on the shoulders of our taxpayers would also be hugely problematic here. So we are looking for ways to offset that at the state level too, and really proud to be working with my colleagues across the state who are experiencing the same issue and trying to get that done. So those are some of our Port Jeff relevant priorities that we've been tackling. Also looking at, continuing to look at the flood mitigation and resiliency, power plant discussions. I know, we've all had those discussions as well. I'm in every meeting that's somewhat relevant, trying to collect information on what the status is of the peaker plant, as far as is New York State on track to be trying to decommission peaker plants? Are they pushing that out because of infrastructure needs and the rising use of electricity? Previously it was predicted that electricity use would be decreasing on Long Island, which when that report came out a few years ago, I was like, who did this? What is this? And they said, oh, well, now with better efficiency with light bulbs and appliances, we'll be able to use less electricity. I'm like, get out of town. We're there, and with the state moving towards electricity, that's only going to increase the demand. LIPE, I believe, put out the information that they're sometimes within 1% of the peak capacity. And so, at this point, my personal opinion is that, that peaker plant will continue having to function until other infrastructure is put into place. And we have a hand in seeing what that looks like for our community. So I look forward to working with this board, task forces, anyone who's really wants to be a part of that conversation so that we can drive it as much as possible instead of being passive and just saying, well, we'll see what happens and what shows up. None of us want that land to become vacated and then just an albatross of, the plant that used to be and the tax implications therein. But it's also a great opportunity to be part of a solution locally for power. So, that's something that we're always talking about in our office, and look forward to engaging with this board on solutions there. Couple other things, walkability. The walkability committee has brought some questions to us as far as working with the DOT and figuring out what the status of certain areas are. So we continue to work with them on getting answers as expeditiously as possible. We continue to, we're almost wrapped up gathering information. The mayor asked me about the e-bikes and sort of the status of what the heck is going on, essentially. I believe we all share that concern. There are these e-bikes that can go faster than some vehicles, on our roads. And, there's young people riding them without helmets. They're going, 40 miles an hour. They're not following road rules. There's no regulation on these. So there is a lot of discussion in the state about seeing how we can categorize these as, if they can go above a certain speed, then, then they would require registration and a license. If not, they would have to be capped at a certain speed, sort of like a scooter. So these are all complications that we're seeing. It's exciting that there's another mode of transportation for individuals. So, that's great, but we also have to be sure that everybody, both the riders and people around them, are safe and following rules, so that it's not just the Wild West of e-bikes out there. So we'll hope to send a report over sooner than later about that. But in the meantime, any specific questions or concerns, please do send them our way, and we'll compile that.
Do you want to get all the complaints that we hear, so that kind of like, and then that's a legit question.
No, I mean, if you want to compile them and send them over, absolutely, that's only helpful to us when we're advocating for something, whether it's a bill that I put in or a colleague's bill. We're always happy to bring that forward and say
it's anecdotal, it's observational, it's eyewitness.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's, I think, one of my duties as a representative is to make sure that I'm collecting the voices of both resident individuals, the local leaders, and bringing that up to Albany and saying, really boots on the ground, this is why it's so important, because, and then drop the stack of emails and issues there, and hopefully someone flips through a few of them and says, okay, I get it. But our community is obviously unique in a million ways, and wonderful, and that's why we love it. And it's also shares a lot of problems with other suburban communities in this instance, where you have a lot of communities, suburban Rochester, Buffalo, who are dealing with the same e-bike situations. The city has their own version of it, where now they have people using these as work vehicles, and they've got their delivery vehicles and this, and how do you being a strong representative of a suburban Long Island community is something that I definitely get out there and do my best at. And so I'm always welcoming of this issue and any other issues that you're seeing a pattern of complaints, and if it's something that could be state relevant, I always invite you sending over saying, hey, you know what, this is something that seems to be bubbling up in the community. Wanted to put it on your radar, and we always take that seriously. Okay, and then the last thing that I'm always going to be working on until we have peace and quiet is the loud vehicles. That's something that we're I'm observing closely the New York City pilot program where they have noise cameras to look at, so it's sort of like a speed camera. Someone goes through, it just takes a picture of the vehicle, and you get a ticket in the mail. The tickets are, I want to say $800 each or something pretty extraordinary. And so there's some problematic features I found, like apparently some cars and motorcycles have actually been manufactured to exceed the decibel limit. I think it's 85. And so I got to have some conversations with the manufacturers and everyone to see what's the story is there. But at the end of the day, all of us have experienced it where you're walking down the street or, you're sitting in your home and it sounds like a machine gun's going off outside your home. And this has only gotten more and more frequent. So, for a serious quality of life issue, that's something that we're going to be looking into and, hoping to continue a conversation to go after the sort of frequent areas that these cars like to parade around and just let them know that that's not what we'd like in our community. Otherwise, I am here again at your service. My chief of staff, Emily Murphy, is here. We have our office in Setauket. We're looking to move it hopefully to Port Jeff Station area, so we're more central in the district. But I always urge folks, call us anytime, even if you think it's not the kind of thing my state representative's office can help with. Try us. Maybe it's not, but perhaps it is. If there's we had someone call, there was a weird $4 charge on the utility bill that they'd never seen before, and we looked into it with our intergov, and they said, oh, that's not supposed to be on their bill, so they had it taken off. So, it's really, I look at our job as shining a light on whatever's going on in the community and connecting folks to the right people to hopefully find a resolve. So with that, thank you for having me, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
You mentioned walkability,
Mm-hmm.
and we share a road with New York State Department of Transportation
Mm-hmm.
going up West Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
And there isn't a month that goes by that we don't hear concerns about that one unwalkable section
Mm-hmm.
of pedestrian access that is between Beach Street and Bayview Terrace.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you've heard this. I was just wondering if you had any insights about what the DOT thinks about that and if there's any resolution for that.
Sure. So we did email the DOT. They got back. They shared with us a letter and information from, was it 2020, about sort of the conversation that happened at that point. They reference that there has to be an agreement between the municipality, so in this case the village, and the DOT for maintenance of the sidewalk, but then said that the resolution of the conversation was more that the DOT would put more sort of signs for visibility saying that, there might be pedestrians walking on the road in this area, which I don't believe there are. So there's just one.
There is one at the corner of Beach Street, right, which we were shown by the walkability expert.
It looks like,
Looks like there's a crosswalk there, right?
yeah, it looks like if there's supposed to be a crosswalk there and there's just no crosswalk, so even the warning is not
dangerous.
clear.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah. So, this is definitely, that was just in the last couple of weeks that we got that information, and have been in touch with the walkability folks. I'm always happy to try to reopen, conversations and see, all right, that was a certain group of people making decisions at that time. Can we just refresh and talk about this issue? Because it is something that, we want all of our sidewalks to be ADA accessible and perfect. That sidewalk is the least close to ADA accessible that I could ever imagine. And, to the point where even I, who loves a good hike and an adventure, feel like I'm getting my good hike and adventure just wandering onto that sidewalk. And so, I'm happy to try to bring folks back around the table and see what can be done between the village and the state as, as far as planning. I don't know if, a plan is resolved, what the funding would look like for that. But, it's an interesting area because it would require a retaining wall. It has all the driveways crossing it. So it's a challenge. But even, whether it's addressing a proper sidewalk or making that area much more pedestrian friendly and notified so that people can get from Beach Street up to Bayview on a shoulder that's clearly marked and safer as a first step. That's something that hopefully we can work with them on as well.
And if there's grant funding available to address it and the village and the state work together on that, that would be something that we could look into also.
Sure. Yeah, it's definitely happy to explore, because that's it's a very one of the unique things in our village. Is that sidewalk.
Yeah.
Continuing on transportation, I just want to say special thank you to your Chief of Staff, Emily Murphy. Whenever I have lower hanging fruit that comes from the Public Safety Advisory Council, she's always the first person that I go to. And we've had some successful wins even in the last few weeks. So fixing the timing at Liberty and Main Street, the light timer was, the timer for the light was off, and they just reconfigured it, and it was working after that. And then the same for the cross signal at Barnum and Main Street. The signal for pedestrians was out, and Emily was able to get DOT to fix them. I think they did it the next day or the day after.
Brilliant.
She emailed them. So those were things resolved in days, which is always nice. And then thank you for all your effort on the Lawrence Aviation and the train station. This body passed a resolution supporting your legislation, urging the governor to sign it. If there's anything else that we can do to continue to be helpful to that effort, I would, happy to work with you on that. Like you mentioned, the 1-seat ride is, I've been a New York City commuter from Port Jeff before, and it can certainly be grueling, but, even that 8 to 12 minutes transfer at Huntington is, if it's really hot out or really cold, it's pretty awful.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Like,
Or if
it's not just
raining,
inconvenient, like, it is terrible.
If it's not 75
and then, for folks that do it multiple days a week, like, that's a lot of time away from family. Like, it adds up to well over an hour by the end of the week collectively, and that's your 10 or 15 minutes later to the soccer game, or you don't get to put the kids on the bus that day because you have to get on the train. So
It's huge,
it is a lot more than just convenience.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it really is something that, if we're looking at trying to mitigate traffic issues here as well, as we're saying, there's so many folks who, and I finally, I haven't got my hands on the study yet, but I heard that someone had done this, surveyed people who were commuting from Ronkonkoma, on the 6:30, the 7 o'clock train there, and said, just what's your zip code, where are you coming from? There were so many people from our area, out to Miller Place area, and all along the North Shore, because they know that there's more frequent service, and it's just, they get on, they know they have a seat, they don't have to wrangle for one, and
you
then
can get home.
And you can get home.
Is
You
the
can get home to
real
your family.
trick.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, I'm grateful for a partnership and making sure that moves forward. Hopefully with this legislation, and then any steps that have to move forward beyond that. And then again, similar to the fire department, well, in this case especially, the $10 ask is definitely the peanut in comparison to the mountain that we're gonna have to.
I'll split it with you.
Thank you. Look at
All right.
Trustee Giuliano.
We'll split
There
it,
you go. There you go. The village is in on this, and I feel like they could have asked for a $20 contract, and they still would have gotten it. But thank you. We all really value this, and I will optimistically say I look forward to celebrating that together.
So first of all, welcome home,
Thank you.
and thank you for everything you're doing in terms of keeping us in the back of your mind as you're working through some of these things,
It was on the front of the mind.
or top
Yeah.
of mind,
Yeah,
as
there
it
we
were.
go.
Yes.
Yeah.
A couple of things. First of all, relative to the power plant, you and I have had a very brief conversation on the work that's being done there, the the relationships that we've built and the ongoing conversations that happen with National Grid and NYSERDA. I'd be really interested to know, in addition to the Energy Committee in Albany, has anyone reached out to NYPA and NYPERG just to sort of get them involved in the conversation as well?
Yeah, so we're connected with them. They've come to the office, and we've had introductory conversations. I brought up the power plan as one of my items of interest for them to be looking at. But we'd be happy to pull together a formal meeting with stakeholders. If you want to send us a list of suggested stakeholders, and then have folks from the Energy Committee or this board or whomever come and just sit around the table and speak about that. We'd be glad to set that up for this autumn.
I would love to coordinate that with the power plant working group, and we'd love to come up and present what we've been working on for the last couple of years.
Well, and you don't even have, so I'm in Albany from January through June, anywhere between 3 and 5 days a week, and come home for the couple days a week and the weekends, and then the rest of the time y'all are stuck with me here. So you see me walking my dog around a little bit more frequently. It's because I am home now. We might get called into special session for the shifts at the federal level, the budget cuts there and how that will affect New York State, but it might not go into play until next year's budget cycle. So I'll steal Stephen from you guys. No, I'm just kidding. But we have a lot of challenges coming up next year with that. So for now, I'm hoping that we do not get called back into special session, and therefore, I've just been, I told myself a pretty lie that, after session, things will slow down a little bit. If anything, we're busier than ever, but really happy, so happy to be running around the community, having meetings like this, going to events, meeting with individual groups and stakeholders like NYPA, where I get to sit down and have, meaningful hour-long meeting to fully understand and help them fully understand what's happening in the district. So y'all can just shuffle on over to Setauket, and let's just keep the commute short.
Okay. And then on the electrification question, on the power plant working group, Bruce Miller is a part of that, a member there. And he has probably 20 years of fighting for the electrification and the conversations. So, if there's anything he can do to contribute, I'm sure he would be offering that. So I'm going to offer in his stead. Bruce,
Very good.
if you're listening, I hope
Yeah.
you're not mad at me now.
Is he still with us? No, only because I know he's alive.
Yeah, no,
Thank
he's,
goodness, and thank goodness.
he's fine.
Yes.
And then just the e-bikes thing, I am routinely following kids on e-bikes that are doing 40 to 50. I know there are New York State regs about the manufacturer, the top speeds of these things, the helmet laws, at what point it becomes, just an electric version of a dirt bike that's illegal to ride
Sure, right.
on the street. And it just feels as if the biggest problem we have is how to enforce it. So if you as you're thinking through these things, enforcement is going to be the issue. The regs already exist.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we're looking at, I think, clarifying the regs based, on what the, say 3 most popular e-bikes, or models that we're seeing out there. And then what I'll do is sit down with Suffolk County PD, and I could sit down with constables as well if we get to that point not direct, through the board, just to help educate. Okay, sorry, got it.
Code enforcement.
Yeah,
So
no more
code-
constables.
Or code. Excuse me, I've been gone for too long. Sit down with code enforcement and see, just to further educate them and Belterre, and anyone who wants to be part of that conversation on what is and is not allowed, and how to enforce. I've also been doing that, deeply diving in and educating myself and my staff on cannabis. These cannabis shops that, and Attorney Moran was very helpful in a meeting we had with Suffolk County PD discussing exactly this. How do we be more effective about enforcing the laws that do exist? And, there's just been a lot of, with this and many other issues, like sometimes the issue is just there's not clarity at the different levels of government and with different enforcement agencies on whose role is it, how do they work together, how do we really get to the bottom of it? And so, been finding some success there, with closing down these illegal cannabis shops. Any of them that you see that are selling intoxicating cannabis substances are illegal. And it's been a head scratcher since I was sitting in the seats here, why they were still operating, if we all know it's illegal. And so, I'm really grateful for the partnerships we're building to tackle that problem as well. And so e-bikes, I'm sure will be on there, and we will get it done.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, and, obviously the schools play a huge part in this, right? Because the parents are just buying a toy for
Right.
their kids and not asking the questions they ought to.
Sure,
About
sure.
wattage and speed. And
Yeah, education is that you
Well-
don't want it to become something that's
we don't want a kid hitting a tree at 50,
right. Absolutely.
in a bicycle helmet, right?
Well, or no helmet.
Or no
Which
helmet,
is what we're
yeah.
seeing, right? Absolutely.
Anyway, thank you so much for everything that you're doing.
Absolutely. My pleasure and my privilege.
That is part of the data to look at too, is the frequency of and growth in emergency visits based on, I think we talked about that too.
Yeah.
Brought it up with St. Charles in one of their morning community meetings,
Mhm.
and they didn't have an answer right away if they were aware of whether or not there were increased visits through accidents on e-bikes. And then I got a call back later that day saying we absolutely are seeing, so it's a good health policy kind of approach
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah.
So if that's helpful, there might be some really good data out there for that.
Sure. Yeah, and we're so lucky to have Stony Brook, St. Charles, and Mather Northwell that are all probably collecting data on this. We work closely with the Stony Brook Children's Hospital as well, and the university, so that they, I'm sure that they're putting these numbers together too, and it is helpful to drive policy.
At the civics meeting, you talked about getting the wastewater from the sewer treatment up to the country club. What can we do to start that process?
Sure, so-
I know it's going to be a long process, but
Absolutely,
anything we
yeah.
can do to.
So this came up with water conservation. One of the PSAs I'm trying to get out there too is that we've all been getting the texts on from the Suffolk County Water Authority about reducing the amount of water that we're using. That's, there's a number of reasons for that, but the most immediate and concerning is that if when there's low water pressure, if there's a house fire, fire departments might not have adequate pressure to put the fire out from the hydrants. And so that's really why they're pushing so hard to say, please limit your water usage so that public safety is not put at risk. But in a water reuse conversation, I know when I was on the board here, I brought up this concept. Now at the state, we're looking to see, there's two opportunities in my assembly district. There's St. George's Golf Course and Stony Brook University, which is a conversation we're moving forward on to see how do we connect those two to reuse the effluent from the sewage treatment plant. It goes through a couple of extra treatment processes, so it's safe and not stinky, and then gets reused on the golf course, which is great for recharging the aquifer instead of putting that fresh water out into our salt water and losing that opportunity to recharge our drinking water. It takes 400 years, so it goes through more processes. And then it's full of nitrogen and phosphorus, the effluent water, so golf courses don't have to buy as much fertilizer, and it's more bioavailable, so it doesn't run off the same way. And then it's saving our drinking water. I know the Port Jefferson Golf Course, I believe, is capped at 10 million gallons of use, and I remember when I was talking to them in the drought years especially, they would be happy to use twice as much as that. So with effluent, they'd be able to have as much as they want. They couldn't use all the effluent, if they wanted to. And so that's something that we're looking into with St. George's, and then it came up last night. Trustee Franco reached out and suggested maybe we go on a tour of the sewage treatment plant here, which my staff is looking to set up for us. So I look forward to that. That probably will not be stinky, but that's okay. We'll put some Vicks Vapo Rub under our noses and head on in. And these are the kinds of I call them field trips that I really enjoy, because you get to deeply understand what the processes are, how we might be able to turn something in our community that is, you know, just infrastructure into something that really helps the community at large. So, you know, I'm happy to continue those conversations with any of the board members and, you know, and look at the funding that would be available to set that infrastructure up. I know that would include working with Belterre Village, because that would go from the sewage treatment plant on the west side of the village, under the harbor, and then probably up, what is that road there? The one where the little kayak rack is?
Crooked Oak or?
Something like that, yeah. So it would probably go up there, and then pretty quickly you would get to the golf course there, so. What's that? Winston. Is it Winston? It eventually gets to Winston, yes. So,
No.
I think, okay.
It's actually Cliff Road, and, you know, Cliff Road is
Cliff Road's this one.
the perpendicular street to the golf, it's on the west side of the golf course, so.
Right.
But
Anyway, there's a way,
There's-
if there's a will.
it's a
And,
long way.
Yes, it is a long way, and so that one, obviously, St. George's and Stony Brook is right across Nichols Road. The one here is something that, you know, we're also happy to look at. They were both identified on CTUC Environmental Association's water reuse map. And so, you know, if the village is interested in it, then I can, you know, include the village in conversations that we're having about effluent reuse at large. I'd be looking to tap the Environmental Bond Act funds to put that infrastructure into place. And so, therefore, you know, offset local taxpayer costs and make it so that our golf courses are using much less water, really no water from our drinking source, and instead being greener than ever.
County executive has expressed a lot of interest in this as well, as you know, and as has the mayor of Belterre. Also, we had actually a tour of the STP recently. Bob and I had an occasion to visit, and the clerk came with us.
Was it stinky?
No.
Oh, all right. There we go. We're good then.
I don't want to ruin any surprises or
Oh,
anything,
man.
or foil your expectations, or jinx it.
Yeah.
But they actually have koi living in some of the facilities
Oh,
in
that's
there.
incredible. There
Yeah.
you go. Which speaks to how, you know, not
The
toxic,
treatment.
of the water is.
So it's the canary in the coal mine,
There you go. The koi and the sewage treatment plant.
whatever. Yeah.
Doesn't, we'll keep working on that.
So it was a good visit and highly recommend it. You were there, right, Bob?
Yeah.
Bad
So,
memory. But Sylvia was there. And and so was Steve Engelbright
fantastic.
and Lori, his chief of staff. And we did that because of the issue that surfaced about the release of some of the material that got let go in the cleansing process, the nitrate, and getting into the harbor. And we just wanted to have the folks at the sewage treatment plant see our face, and we could see their face and say, when that happens, let us know immediately.
Yes.
We don't want to wait for a health department press release,
Mhm.
12 to 16 to 24 hours later. So we really want to be on that first call.
Right.
And we got to see how things work and how the water is processed and where it discharges. So it was a good visit, and I highly recommend it. And who was there?
Charlie Lefkowitz?
The head of the DPW, Charles Bartha,
Oh.
and also Leslie Mitchell was there too, who's a village resident. So they're both high up in DPW for
Great.
Suffolk County. So
Great.
it's a good trip.
Good. We look
Um,
forward to it.
Yeah, and the other thing I just want to update you on is we are waiting from Long Island Sound Partnership, which used to be Long Island Sound Study,
Mhm.
and Sea Grant,
Yeah.
to hear about if they issued the RFP finally for the watershed analysis and review on Old Homestead Road along the Country Club, Sluiceway, and to see if it's a true engineering study about whether or not we can reclaim that water, another idea that
Sure.
you and Stan Laux had together. So,
Yeah.
this is cool. This
Yeah.
is very good stuff, and we don't issue the contract. The Sound Partnership does,
Mhm.
And so they're telling us that they're ready to issue it sometime in August.
Very
So
exciting.
we're waiting to hear on that. So it's stage one of a plan that is first the study.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. Good,
Okay,
okay.
thank you,
Thank you all
Assemblywoman.
so much,
Appreciate
and looking forward to continuing conversations as we go. All right, thanks for having me tonight.
Thank you, Emily. She just left it on the table.
Oh, no, I mean, it's less than my limit, but I'll.
Next up, we need that chair back, though, Rebecca.
Before the treasurer gets the shakes.
Yeah.
We got away.
So, Jen, do you want to come up? And we invited Jen Hildreth up to report to us on the status of the records retention
Nice to meet you. I'm Jennifer.
project.
Welcome. I think you all know me now. Everybody knows me, and I'm loud, so everybody hears me.
Thank you.
Bye, Emily.
So this might require a field trip of sorts?
Yep. I won't even need that, as you all know.
Uh,
Before we go on the field trip, I'll
Mhm.
just say hi to everyone. Hi. I started this project, the record retention project that you all approved, which was very much needed in this building. It's a big job, and it's been very interesting, but I want to give you a report that I'm about 20% of the way in. It started up in this area, and I concluded a week ago in the, I call it the hidey hole closet. There's a closet under the stairs in the front of the building. It's very strange and unusual, and you can't step into it unless you really bend down. Anyway, I'd say I'm 20% through the project. What is the project, you all want to know? Does anybody want to know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretend
Record
we don't know,
retention.
pretend we know nothing, though.
Okay, so record retention is a countrywide project that municipalities have, and there are federal rules. Are they correct? Am I correct, Clerk, that they are federal rules, the retention guide you sent me?
So what we're following is the New York
State, I'm sorry.
records retention schedule.
Correct. So it is a 400-page guide that Stephen was so kind to put into an email document for me. And when I open a drawer, I look into the drawer, and I have to literally go almost piece by piece to make certain that I am looking at the guide, I'm looking at the document, I am notating the date, the type, where it came from, what is it, does it need to be retained, does it need to be scanned, does it need to be shredded, and I have to now compile and notate all of that stuff. It's been pretty smooth. Stephen and his coworkers have been helpful as they can because they're doing their jobs. I am simply there to do my thing, trying not to interrupt the flow of everyone's work. But it's been a very long time this building's been utilized, and there's been very little purging. So I applaud this administration, or whoever's idea this was, to do it. It's something that needed to be done, or this building was going to split in half like your pants after Thanksgiving. We were
It was
really,
Sylvia's idea.
we were really, and I mean this, and you guys are the trustees and you're taking care of this village. It was gruesomely too long for this to happen, and I'm really grateful as a lifetime person here that it's happening. It was making everyone's jobs kind of complicated, stepping over, where are we putting this? Oh my God, there's so much stuff, it's from 1962. And it's been a very interesting thing. So that being said, does anybody have any questions about what I'm doing?
May I make a couple of statements, Claudia?
Sure.
Thanks. So one of the things that Jen isn't talking about that is very time-consuming with this project is the actual labeling. So we have boxes that are labeled on 2 of the 4 sides to make it easier for when they have to be retrieved. Okay, that's number one. That was very time-consuming. She's been extremely efficient at it, and also efficient at grouping like things, okay? Which is
I'm a parent, it helps.
which is
No
extremely
offense to people who aren't parents, but
which is extremely important, okay? That having been said, I want to go back also to what Jen was talking about, shredding and retention, and that she's checking the New York State schedule. Yes, all that is true, but the bottom line is that those records are the responsibility of the clerk and the clerk's office. So what's going to happen after that is that we will create forms per New York State guidance that say that these records can be shredded on such day, can be disposed of on such day, okay? Those forms are signed by the department head and then the clerk. So wanted to make that process clear because it's not incumbent upon Jen to make that final determination because that's not fair, okay? And then lastly, we just started this week in furtherance of this project, working in conjunction with the town of Brookhaven because we are preparing boxes to be sent away to Brookhaven storage facility at $3 per box per year, which is a bargain, treasurer, because we could never store them anywhere else for that amount. Okay, so they are going to that facility for that price, and also we have a process to follow there, which I'm working through the clerk and the deputy clerk through that process. So what we will do is we will take what we deem to be our least potential for use storage items, okay, and keep them there. And this will help clear out our own facility without any loss. So I'm sorry, I just wanted to add that
Don't
in.
be sorry.
And thank
I
you
do want
for
to
your
ask a
help.
question. Does anybody know how long public records need to be retained?
Depends on the record.
Depends on the record.
Payroll records. Don't answer, you're the lawyer. You guys, I want to know, does anybody know this?
And me.
And you can't answer, because you're not involved in this. Does anybody know? I was
I'm
totally
going to say
shocked.
forever.
Not forever. Payroll records are 55 years.
Wow.
Because when people are now,
Yeah.
aging out, they want to
Yep.
know their work credits and whatever. So Lynn, our treasurer, what is her position? Deputy accountant. So she has to periodically go.
She handles
to-
payroll.
To refer to those payroll books. We had payroll books that were handwritten from 1963 in that closet right there. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff in here, like a lot of stuff. So it's been an interesting experience, but it's a very serious job, and you have to do it very slowly and carefully. If I have any questions about anything, just so you all know, I don't use my judgment. I go to Sylvia and I ask her, I'm not sure about this, and she will look it up, investigate it, and tell me what is what. The things that are clear and obvious, I can obviously disseminate into the proper spots. DPW has also been stupendously not hating me for coming in 90 degrees to pick up 147 boxes that are really, really, really heavy. And they have been stupendous, so give those guys a pat on the back when they deserve it, because they have been working very hard. I want to say that I've probably boxed 120 boxes so far, and it's about 20% of the job. The stickers that Sylvia was referring to, the notations, it's going to make it much easier, and I'm really glad to have that as well. You know, writing all of the documents onto the side of the boxes is a little challenging because we've had some movement, and understand the reason I started up here was because planning and building moved, as you all know, from 88 to here and have been using like a pop-up shop desk out here. So my goal was to get it done as efficiently and quickly as I could, so this poor guy isn't sitting at a table out here where people are coming and going, and
He was
people-
fine.
People need a place to work, and
No,
it's
I'm kidding.
you know,
You
it's
know that.
important that someone have their dignity, per se, where they work. So we did it. So let's go, I'll show you what I did if anyone cares to look, or if you don't care to look, it doesn't matter to me. No one has to get up.
We want to
Another-
look.
Another positive result, I'm sorry, Mayor.
That's okay.
Another positive result is that we also had a lot of questions, right?
Mhm.
And one of them was, if we have this in electronic format, do we still need to keep the paper? And that goes with the resolution that this board passed last time we all met, which said that if we have an exact replica electronically, then there is no need to keep the paper. And that's huge. That's huge, and that was very helpful.
Well, it was interesting to me because, whatever.
Only certain documents,
Passed it,
though, right?
only certain documents.
All documents?
Yes.
Payroll documents?
Yes, Mayor.
We can scan everything?
No, but
The
they-
problem with some of the payroll documents, according to what I was told
Lynn.
by Stephen and Lynn, is that they are not exact replicas. So that's where we get into a problem.
The state is very persnickety about destroying anything when it comes to a municipality. So I am double, triple, quadruple checking what I'm doing. Because we don't want to get rid of things that we need, that they're important. And by the way, there are some things that we have to save
forever.
Yes, there are some for
Hence
others.
the reason we are very grateful, or I was very grateful, not that I'm writing the check, paying the bill, that Brookhaven gives us some storage space, because we are bursting out of this building. And now they are temporarily stored elsewhere until do I talk about the grant? So we were awarded, thank you to Lisa Motto and her hard work, a $75,000 grant. What the grant entails is they will actually come and remove $75,000 worth. I think it's like 20 cents a sheet or something. I forget how they figured it out.
So we have literally a few 100,000 pieces of paper that are going to be scanned and then can be shredded or can be removed. And that's what that grant is for. And all of those documents were already set aside by Lisa and myself prior to Jen even starting. So it's actually a two-part process, because once the grant goes into effect, then that's yet another way that we can purge and create more space. And we're waiting day to day for approval on that grant. Lisa has been excellent at working hard at keeping on them. They are behind schedule. Normally, the grant is awarded by now, but they are off schedule. So we are hoping to hear by the end of this month.
And we can do it every year. $75,000 worth of stuff every year.
So that's great.
Great.
First of all, this is a gargantuan task, right? Because I just, based on what I've observed, it appears that every department filled their space and then started looking in the building for other space for additional records. So
Since
like
1963.
they're everywhere, and I think there's even a room or a closet in the main building at the country club that has boxes labeled finance.
I'm
so
well aware.
Don't know. Okay, good. Just making sure that you were aware of that.
That's why we're awaiting the grant award right now.
Fabulous.
We are packed to the gills everywhere.
And then, Madam Clerk, it sounds like you're already starting to think through procedurally how, once everything is sort of organized, how new things will get filed going forward. And
Of utmost importance, yes. Yes, I am.
I have also taken this project on at the capacity of, and again, I hate to keep using that term because it's not my feat in life, but as a parent, you have to plan and organize and think 7 steps down the road. Not just about what's happening right now, what's going to happen and happen and happen and happen. So what we've also discussed with Stephen and his staff is about now, let's get in the purge game. Let's get in the habit of doing that. We all brush our teeth every day, so every year at the end of the year, we need to go, what is old, what is new, and borrowed and blue, and get it out of here.
What does that have to do with brushing our teeth?
You know what I'm saying?
good hygiene.
Always a wise guy. But it's like a thing, it's a must-do.
habits.
But it didn't happen here since 1963, so somebody mustn't doing it. And I'm not blaming you or them or
Technology
anyone.
has changed everything,
It
too.
certainly has,
Mhm.
but it's, so I have 27 pictures, but when I'm all done, whenever that'll be, I hope I live to see when I'm all done, I
We'll
will
do a
show you,
PowerPoint.
I will show you a PowerPoint presentation of what the before and the
Great,
after.
great.
But this office is in itself, makes me feel really good, because it was really hard, and it was a lot, and now everyone's at home nice and tucked in their
Yeah.
beds, and that makes me feel good,
Yeah.
because now everyone has a working space, and there is no excess, nothing in there. And we will
Mm.
filter, and, well, I did what you asked, and it is moved, and I still have to disseminate it.
Just very
But
hard to
understand,
please.
slow down. There's nowhere to store it. And we need the labels and all of that nonsense. So anyway, without going into there, what I will tell you is I emptied every single cabinet in the giant room, the small rooms. I went through them one at a time, and they were working. I was trying to stay out of the way, and then I push it out into here, and then there's a meeting that night, so I have to push it all back in at the end of the day. It's heavy, it's hard, it's hot, it's summer. I'm
2 days
strong,
ago, the
I'm
back of
good.
this room was packed out with file cabinets and
It was
drawers and
it's insane.
desks and all kinds of things. And the way it's transformed, it's like one day a week, every week, there's been huge transformation.
And it makes me feel good that I'm getting the job done.
Yeah.
So just so you know, I have walked with the mayor and the clerk around the building to see, there's something in every closet in this building. So scary and weird.
Have you ventured into the other closet
The other hidey hole?
On the other, on.
Of course. The hidey hole.
Have you gone up the ladder?
I did not yet.
Okay.
It's too crowded in there.
Okay.
I have to empty the
Golf
closet first.
No, the one right down
Not
here.
at the maintenance
Yeah.
facility?
No,
The hidey hole
right here.
ladder on the left, on the
Yeah.
other side.
Mhm.
Why, what's at the top of the ladder, Bob?
I don't know.
Oh, I'll find out. I'll get back to you
But there
on
is a
that.
ladder that you have to climb
I'm
up to
not
get to the
afraid.
top shelf. It used to be code enforcement books.
I
don't
won't
know what's
admit
up there
that.
now.
There's still
I know what it
that's
looks like
still
at the
there.
top of the stacks, if that helps you on the climbing.
It's still there.
Before we go look, can you just, or maybe the clerk, can give folks at home just a better idea of like what, like, I think when folks hear government shredding records, they automatically have a dystopian fiction playing in their mind. Can you, like you mentioned payroll records, like what else what are the records that are actually being sorted?
Well, in the treasurer's office, it was payroll, what is being shredded, not a whole.
Or just like what
Sorted.
kind of records are we talking about? Yeah.
I don't have
Sorted,
I
yeah.
don't have the list with
So
me, Kyle.
we have personnel records, we have payroll records, we have financial reports, we have, I'm mishmash now, right?
Sure.
Merchant bills, vendor
Budgets,
bills,
invoices, vendor invoices,
Tickets.
receipts. We had in the hidey hole, as Jen calls it, that was full of court-related tickets, violations. Some of those could be shredded, some of those need to be kept. So that's that area.
massive amounts of voided checks or past checks. The way they used to do checks here was paper checks. So
Yeah.
thousands of paper checks in a book. I got to open the book. You got to go through all the paper checks, make sure there's no numbers on them. If there's no numbers on the checks and they're dummy checks, they can be shredded, but they still have to be notated that they're dummy checks. If they're real voided checks, you have to notate when did they start, when did they finish, what are they for, who are they to. A lot of anything to do with finance, Kyle, is the answer to your question. Is what's up there.
Is what's here.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, then when Lisa Motto and I worked on the beginning of the grant process to detail which boxes and which categories we were working on with them, I have an entire list. So that one is a little bit more, it's board meetings, it's personnel, it's agendas, it's legal files. So whatever we found, okay? And again, it's not all, I don't want people to panic that we're shredding everything.
Yeah, no, that's why
Right?
yeah.
So that's not the case. It is a records retention schedule. As Jen was saying, some things have to be kept forever. Some things are 55 years, some things are 7 years, some things are 5. So we are very strict. We are bound to adhere to that schedule because we, by resolution, are said that we would adhere to that schedule, and even if we didn't do it by resolution, we would still adhere to that schedule. So it's not at all anything like a mass shredding.
To answer your question better, now that I've had a minute to digest it, so when I put stuff into the shred boxes, which I did, dozens, millions, zillions of shred boxes, I took about a stack about 2 inches thick, and on that stack is a note with what is in that stack. Sylvia and Stephen made it very clear to me when the project began, the state is serious, they're not fooling around, which I clearly understand. I get I understand what's that colloquial phase now? I understand the assignment. So, just so you know, if people do ask you, every single box that's marked S red for shred has everything in it, has a note on it, what it is. So we know that we are upstanding and we're shredding only what is supposed to be shredded. I do it, they check it, they note it, and then it goes.
Jen does it. I check it. Department head signs off. I sign it. And that is kept. That is kept on site. I don't know for how long. I haven't checked that schedule yet. But that information is kept on site here because if New York State ever comes in and asks for it,
Yep.
we have a record of what we no longer have a record of.
Any other questions?
Takes a special kind of individual to be able to meticulously go through this kind of work, and I
Call
think
me
we
what
found the
you
right
like,
person.
Mayor, but just doing a job.
Meticulous.
I'm an organizational person. I have a little OCD,
Yeah.
a little, and that's what I like to do. So I'm happy to be doing it. It's a little physical, I'm not going to lie. Those shelves in there were really high, and Stephen had a lovely, what's that kid's name? Daniel. what do you call him?
He's intern.
Lovely kid, and he's super tall and super strong. So he did lend me a hand a couple times. I'm not going to kill myself doing this because I
No.
can't be disabled.
And Public Works, like you said,
They were
did a lot of the
amazing.
heavy lifting.
And it was, guys, the day that they came to get the boxes, people, it was literally like 100 degrees, and I said to the mayor, I gotta get out of here, I gotta get out of here before they get here, because they're gonna be mad and like hate me. And they were all so pleasant, and it was literally like an entire flatbed, stacked side to side, front to back, up high, 5 feet high. They were like, and I felt terrible, but it's gonna cool off soon. So then, what's my guesstimate for the rest of the project? I can't say, but I will keep you guys posted at your work sessions on my progress. And I have photographs of everything before, and I will have photographs of everything after.
Thank you for your efforts.
You're welcome.
So the first 20% took you how long to get to that?
Well, I worked as fast as I could because the parks, the planning people needed to get into their space.
Sure.
And we needed to get out of that space to get the paint and the carpet, and it was like a big game of Tetris, as you know what that is. How long did it take me? I think I started, I think I worked, I want to say 27 hours.
And that got 20% of the project
Yes, sir.
finished? Okay, that's great.
And this was somewhat of a layup in the sense of the stuff. There was 79 payroll books. The payroll books just simply have to get put into the boxes for Lynn to refer to later in order with tags up, date correct. So that's just, the mental, like when all of a sudden you have to alphabetize something when you're 50-something, you're like, wait, what? A, B, C. You know what I'm talking about. So you have to be very careful just to do that correct. So that was a little time consuming, but it was just dates, simple. I can't say, Matt, how it will be in the rest of the building because I'm only now familiar with these documents. So I don't know how more complicated a different area will be.
Or you have a procedure in place now that you can
400
probably,
page guide.
yeah, that you can
Done.
implement. and
It's
everything.
easy. But you
All
got
right.
to look up every single thing.
And there's nothing wrong with being OCD.
I'm.
Being organized is good.
It's good.
So stay that way.
It works for me.
It also feels like that first 27 hours, the first initial couple of hours had to have been sort of, the ramp-up period, right? Understanding where things were, working with
I
the
was
clerk
already.
to understand.
I looked at it all before. I went to work day
Oh,
one.
so you did
bam.
pre-work?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I went through
Good,
this whole
thank you.
building and I took all the photographs and I traveled around up to the club, down here, Heidi Hall, here, there, everywhere. I just didn't go up those ladder or whatever. I didn't know about that ladder. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this building, bursting at the seams. Your butt at Thanksgiving. Any other questions? Okay, so I'll let you guys go, but you can take a peek in there before you leave. And whatever you see, I got rid of it. And whatever you see there is what they're using now.
We'll have a recollection because, I don't know, when did we go in last? The last work session meeting? Did we walk back there?
I've been in there every week, so I know.
You literally
Yeah.
couldn't walk through the room at the end, and it was challenging. It
One
was
of the nights
challenging.
when
I've
we had a
seen the
meeting.
transformation week over week.
And I got a
because
very
I'm in
nice
there
thank
all
you
the
from
time.
Andy Freeling the other
Wait till you
day,
see it
because
now.
he's, poor guy's
Oh,
been
you
sitting
did
out here
mention it.
at a desk like he's in 6th grade. He made a really, and it was nice to get a thank you, because, I mean, obviously it's a job and it's a contract, but it's nice when someone says thank you.
I mean, he's happy to not be in the
I'm
courtyard.
happy for him. It felt very inappropriate for him to be out there. Thank you, everyone.
rather.
Thank you.
I'm tired, it's hot, I need a
Thanks,
shower.
Jen.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Your meeting, people,
Thank you.
of course.
All right, now we are on to reports. I'd like to start tonight with our clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll try to be brief. Going through my report, the first item I'd like to touch on is the RFP for the long-term strategic planning. There was only one proposal received, so.
That's for the country club.
Yes,
Mhm.
thank you, Mayor. For the country club, so you will see that I'm asking that we pass a resolution this evening allowing a renotice of that. We need to expand the outreach. I'm proposing to renotice on the 14th with a return on the 25th so that we can be in time for our next meeting on the 27th. Of course, we will notice in the contract reporter and also specific to the industry sites, including but not limited to the Club Managers Association of America and the Golf Course Superintendents of America. So those two are enhanced outreach. If anyone has other ideas of where we can outreach, I would be very happy to have those.
Yeah, I actually had a question on this one.
Sure.
You know, it seems to me that you and the treasurer have done a great job of putting better procedures and policies, purchasing policies specifically in place.
Thank you.
Everybody's been trained on it. This is great. It's still, I would love to understand at the departmental level, you know, who the vendors are that they've used in the past, and just sort of look at the list in terms of what the market looks like now. So, for example, the RFP for the long-term strategic planning, like, who did we reach out to? And is there perhaps a longer list that is not monitoring where we're posting or the public notices that we've put out for the RFP? Like, perhaps there are other companies we should be inviting to the table that wouldn't normally even know.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, so it's just, and this is not germane, specific to the golf course. Like, I'm thinking about that relative to DPW, relative to any other purchasing, you know, departments that we have for larger projects, right?
Yes, I would say that each proposal, each bid, each RFQ is case-specific. But yes, in general, what you're saying is absolutely correct. A broader outreach is absolutely preferred. This way, and I know you're looking at it from a financial perspective, and that's absolutely correct. And this way, we are assured that we have the proper bidder at the right price. And that's why, having only received one, it was incumbent
Yeah.
upon me to bring up that we need a wider outreach. And now I'm aware of some of the wider outreach, and I will also expand from there.
Would love
Starting
to have
tomorrow.
a
Starting tomorrow.
conversation about that, yeah.
Terrific.
And
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sylvia?
Yes.
Carl Carrillo, I apologize. Is there a possibility I can get a copy of that proposal? The one that just came in, the only proposal that we have, just so I can review and get.
Of course.
And just, you know, familiarize myself with what the long-term plan they're presenting.
Sylvia, you say of course, but as a matter of procedure, when the bids come in, how do they get reviewed? All at once? I just don't, there's been a lot of requests and a lot of people working on requests. So when a bid comes in, right, who reviews the bid? Does it get put in a bid, in the trustees packet for ultimately approval of the bid to the low responsible bidder? Or is it just the low responsible bidder that makes it into the trustees packet?
It is the lowest responsible bidder that makes it into the trustees packet.
Okay.
And that bid, all the bids are reviewed by the department head, by legal, so they are vetted.
Yes, I just want to be brought up to speed on what we're looking at. And then as we go forward, just more information.
So what we're looking at would then be, I think what you may be asking for would be the bid package.
Yeah.
Okay, so the bid package is different
No,
from.
no, that's not
No,
what he
no.
said, though.
That-
He wants to see the bid that we received, we received the response, he wants to see that response.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay,
That's what I'm looking for. Thank you.
That's, I want to just
Appreciate it.
clarify.
okay, thank you. We are, to go talk about grants for a moment, the treasurer, Lisa Matto, and Renee Lemmerman and I are all working towards, towards a possible USTA grant for the remediation of the tennis courts over by Rocket Ship. Okay, so we will update progress as that happens. There's no deadline on that.
That was USTA?
USTA.
US Tennis Association?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, there's no deadline, so that's a good thing. Under the category of insurance, we had a meeting with our new insurer, Nymer, and received a check yesterday in the amount of $29,000 as a return customer. I call it a return customer bonus because years ago, we were customers of Nymer, and I have had, for many years, very good experiences with Nymer. So we are happy to welcome them back to us. And in addition, for the next fiscal year, it is likely that we'll receive another check in that same amount. So we were very happy to have that meeting. For legal notices, and this is going to be a little bit of a skip around, under legal notices, there's an additional legal notice that will happen, and this involves Trustee Hill specifically, who's going to help us through this. A legal notice for a public hearing to be held at our August 27th meeting is going to be noticed in Newsday, hopefully tomorrow, if not Friday at the latest. So we were on tight deadline today. And trustee, do you want to talk about what that, the generation of that?
Sure, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ignore the light. Can you hear? Yeah, there we go. So this is just a continuation and correction of the school safety code change that we passed at our last public meeting. There was a part of the road that was not included in the code change that we included. This would add that addition, but it is it would include everything that we talked about every time we've talked about this issue before. So that stretch from Dark Hollow Road going east and west from that stretch of Old Post Road going east and west from Dark Hollow Road on either side. So this way kids aren't, or parents aren't parking on the far side of the road and their children aren't running into the street to get into their car while traffic is trying to keep moving. And thank you for your work on that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. So in order for us to have this public hearing, we obviously need a resolution, so that's going to be an add-on tonight. We actually have two add-ons, one that the board is already aware of from the treasurer, and that's regarding sandblasting work that was done at the revetment wall. Okay, so there will be two add-ons. Under my miscellaneous category, all I'm going to say is we continue to promote the brick giveaway. Please come take bricks. We are drowning in bricks. But all kidding aside, the bricks will have to be removed very soon because DPW needs that room because we are preparing for winter and they are out of room. So that will be a secondary conversation in the future. Again, under miscellaneous, on August 19th at noon, right in this room, the Brookhaven IDA will host a public hearing regarding the Port Jefferson Commons project. It's hosted here in the village because they are looking specifically for village input and thought that it would make more sense and be easier to engage our residents if it were held here. So I worked with them, and Trustee Ugrinsky was instrumental in that process as well to get the meeting held here, and it was noticed accordingly. Under permits, I'm working with Fred Hall of the Ferry, and thank him very much for continuing to be an excellent partner to our village, both with a big and small V, towards the completion of required permits for the remediation of 14 East Broadway. What that means is that during construction, a contractor who is not our contractor hit a Suffolk County water main, and however, our property has been damaged. So I'm working with Fred, and we have very specific details from DPW of what the remediation looks like, of thicknesses of asphalt that's required, and so those specifications were given to Mr. Hall, and we're working through that process. So I just wanted to say thank you to DPW and to Fred Hall. We already talked about the records, so I'm not going to talk about that anymore. The regatta. I attend the regatta meetings on Tuesdays. They start at once a month, then we go to 2 times a month, and now they're weekly, every Tuesday morning at 8:30 at the Yacht Club. I'm very pleased to say that their pole flags, the pole flags that were created for the event were put up by DPW. The mayor and I saw them today. They look excellent. Yeah, it's the first time that the Yacht Club has made such a thing, and they made them specifically for reuse in terms of the material, in terms of the durability, but also in terms of dates. So instead of stating a specific, bless you, instead of stating a specific date on the materials, okay, what they said instead was the Saturday following Labor Day. Okay, so perfect for reuse. And thank you for DPW, they did that quickly and they did it well.
So just as a side note to this, when we realized that we were violating our own sign code by putting a banner up across East Main Street, or 2 banners up across East Main Street to advertise events, and we were enforcing our sign code, banners not permitted, not permissible. This was one of the ideas that came up as a replacement kind of idea. Campuses around the country do this. Stony Brook does this. Mather does this. The City of Miami does it for different events that the City of Miami hosts and on Key Biscayne, et cetera, et cetera. But the regatta was the first to embrace this, this option, and is kind of showcasing that it is an option. And so we're excited that they're very happy with it. And I've shared it with some other events to see if they're interested. And they produce the signs. No, they produce the pole banners, pole flags, and we install them. So it's a win-win, and it kind of dresses up the community and helps people understand when events are happening. And you don't have to be driving up East Broadway to see it. It's up and down Main Street. So I'm excited to see what comes of this in the future.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Lastly, under work authorizations, I'd like to mention that notice to proceed to earth repair was signed by the mayor and sent to earth repair today for work to begin, I believe it's the 26th. I should say by the 26th.
No
probably.
later than.
No later than, by the 26th.
To begin no later than?
Correct.
Sorry, I can't tell if this thing's on.
It is.
Is there a way, I would be curious, if possible, I'd be curious to know how much they actually pull out of the storm drains.
Different project, but
Am I mixing those up?
they're
Oh,
it's
this is the
both
Yes.
culvert,
interesting.
yes,
Yes.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I would be interested to know how much we pull out of
Yeah.
the storm drains.
Mhm.
And if we could somehow quantify like what that means for rainfall, because if they're supposed to handle X number, but there's, plus Y of sediment in the storm drains, you would have to subtract that from what they can actually handle and what that means for the village. I would just be very curious, like how impactful it is, and then we can justify budgeting that on a regular schedule in the future.
We are looking for.
I'd like to know what they pull out of the culvert too, if that's possible. I
Both.
don't know. Yeah.
Both.
Yeah,
Both.
yeah.
Mhm.
They are keeping track of the storm drain sediment removal. I think they're done, right? Are they done?
I believe they're done, right?
Did they conclude?
They haven't concluded.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, and we're looking to get grants. We already applied for one grant to pay for a half of a VACCON, and we're looking to find funding to supplement the cost of a new VACCON, because our VACCON is constantly in disrepair. It's 10 years old, and we need to replace it. But I think we're in a position now to continue to apply for grants that enable us to continue to maintain our storm drains in excess of what we can do with our own equipment. So Lisa's working on that. Lisa Mattow's working on that.
Okay, so with that, we have 9 known resolutions to vote on and the additional 2. So I'll begin, please, with resolution number 1, 81325, which is a resolution rejecting all proposals as received in response to the long-term strategic planning request for proposals for the Port Jefferson Country Club, and authorizing Clerk Perillo to renotice the request for proposals accordingly. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution number 2, 81325, resolution appointing the following to the Country Club Management Advisory Council, known as the CCMAC: Alex Spiegel, Eli Zamek, Lillian Clayman, John Riley Jr., properly spelled R-E-I-L-L-Y, and Peter Poten. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you.
I'll second for discussion.
Okay.
So, do we know what the terms are?
Those would have to be determined after they are established as council members, and they would self-determine those based on the code.
Oh, just like the Budget
Three-year
and
terms.
Finance
Yeah, three-year
Committee,
terms.
right?
So it would be
Once,
staggered first,
Right.
Mhm.
and then they would evolve into,
and they have to elect officers first, and then terms, discuss terms at the same time, and get their operating model in order, and
Okay, because a lot of times they're replacing one and their term expired and stuff, so.
we had
But-
several, we
but
had 5
because-
people whose terms had expired.
Mhm.
We also had 2 people who were tennis members when tennis had a membership, but they were no longer members. So their terms, not only their terms expired, but they also were not eligible because they were not members. Alex Spiegel is a member who is, has expressed and is very interested in seeing the social membership become something very robust, and has experience in social memberships on Long Island and on the South Shore. She's been a legacy member of the Sayville Yacht Club, so she brings a lot of perspective and other best practices to that type of thing, and she's been actively engaged in working and is a member of the country club as well. Eli Zamek would replace Ron Carlson as the non-resident member. Eli Zamek lives in Belterre Village, and he brings a wealth of experience. He's retired, but he brings a wealth of experience in professional and large-scale construction projects that, in very tall buildings in Manhattan. So, and he was the GC basically for a lot of these construction projects in Manhattan, working for a firm. Lillian Clayman, Trustee Ugrinsky reached out to Lillian Clayman, who is former mayor of Hamden, Connecticut,
Hamden, Connecticut, that's right.
and her experience in municipal governance and infrastructure and finance and many, many aspects that we are seeing at the country club that need attention she brings all that to bear, and that's something that is very much welcome.
Let me
Sure,
just
sure.
add one sentence to that,
Mhm.
and that is, she will be valuable in that she deeply understands municipal operations as well as municipal finances, even with respect to lines of business under the municipality that may be operating under commercial accounting, which is sort of where we're going. So, and she, so bring a wealth of information, because the rest of the group is residents with a lot of commercial experience. So happy to have a municipal voice on that, in that group.
That was more than one sentence.
I'm sorry.
It was a run-on.
It was a run-on, yeah. It was just,
Might I interject something? I believe it's, and I don't mean to speak for you, Kyle. I think Kyle had mentioned at a few meetings ago, I don't think I was a board member at the time, that when we are going to vote on people that are going to come on committees, that if they have filled out a request for it and they have information that they provided, like you guys just provided, that we get that information in advance of this vote. I think the process should be that if we're going to vote on, I know John Riley very well, love him, love his wife, love his family. I know Pete Poten, I love them I still want to see all that information that came in so that we can make an informed, educated decision. Most of these other people, we don't know. I don't know what their experience level is. So we're asked to vote on something where we don't actually have the information. So I would say to hold off on this vote, this is just me, and please forward us their applications so that we know who we're voting on. And if we have questions based on their applications, this would be the time that we work on it. So that's what would be my request.
I did say something like that. The difference in that meeting, we didn't see it until we had sat down, but I think most of these folks were included in the draft packet, right?
Mhm.
So that's just the difference there. But I mean, yeah, you could ask ahead of time if you had any like, because there were some folks on here I knew and some I didn't, but I reached out to the mayor and we discussed it before now, but.
Completely understand. I've just, again, I've requested a lot of documents, and I've been having difficulty getting the information. So I just think it would just make it easier, process-wise, that if we're going to vote on people, let's just send it out to us so we all have it, so we can review it.
Was it on the draft?
I thought so.
It was on the draft.
It was on the draft.
Yeah.
What I think trustee Franco is getting at is, as part of that, it might have been useful to have the liaison send out the background information on each of the parties being considered prior to voting on them. I think, not to put words in your mouth, but I think that's what I'm hearing
That
you
is
say.
an accurate assessment, yes.
Okay.
Isn't there a question about the code as well, as far as the quorum? So don't we have to change the code?
No.
I don't think that's
The
gonna
code says
change,
6.
yeah.
Quorum doesn't mean majority.
I know, but if it says it in the code,
Quorum, I think in this code,
It says 7 out of 9.
6.
Oh,
6 of the 7 members.
Yeah.
If you guys want to change it, you guys can change it.
Yeah, because I think the issue.
have trouble meeting then.
It's if you need a super majority to reach a quorum, no more than one person can miss it. So
Right.
that's
Right.
the problem there.
So that's,
I think that's the
That's a
problem.
scheduling
the last
problem.
CCMA
That's why they
was
haven't met in the
experiencing.
past.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was so in the conversations that we have with these folks is it's up to them to figure out when they can meet and to attend the meetings. But it's a requirement. If you want to be considered, you'd have to make yourselves available for meetings at the time. So there are 2 people who remain on this council, and that's Jim Burke, who is the non-resident member, and the
Yeah,
president of
the
the Board of
resident
Governors.
non-member.
Resident non-member,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and the president of the Board of Governors. So that's, if you're wondering, why don't we have 7 people here?
No, I knew there was
Okay,
I knew in the code it talked about the quorum, and it was more than just a majority of the
People.
of the people.
Mhm. so do you want to, so we have Pete Poten, who is a longtime member and golf member and has background in landscape management and architecture. So that's something, the CCMAC's duties and responsibilities in the code consist of 3 areas. It's financial oversight for the entire, financial advising for the entire country club, and awareness and assessment and review. It is the social and cultural aspect of the full campus of the country club, and it also is related to financial infrastructure. So, hey, by the way, the bluff is falling down. Oh, by the way, did you notice that our storm drains are messed up? Questions like that just haven't really been asked in forever. So we wanted a quorum, a council of people who understand these significant issues. It's a microcosm, a pretty broad microcosm of the village. It's a subculture, it's a substructure of the village. And it is run without taxpayer dollars. Not 1 penny of taxpayer dollars goes into the country club management. It's self-sustaining, correct?
Yes.
So it's a responsibility, and it's a responsibility that these folks bring to bear, their background and professional knowledge and experience that will aid to whatever that north side of Fairway Drive has to offer us in the future. And they're the ones who we look to counsel and advise on these things, and work with the operations, whatever consultant is awarded that operations strategic planning bid, whatever consultant is awarded the master planning bid, after we have an evaluation, and if the board approves, going to look at a broader master plan for the entire campus. These are things that have never, and I know I've said this in this forum before, but these are things that the Country Club has never looked at in the past from a broader review and execution. So they may have secured information and guidance, but the execution thereof is really, it's essential, and this CCMAC will be actively involved. And the other thing we will be looking at is bringing in a master planning steering committee, much like Harborfront Park had a steering committee. Do you remember those days, Bob?
Yeah.
So once that real estate was available to develop with a park and a village center, et cetera, that didn't just materialize. A group of 60 people actually contributed to what
Large
that
amount of people.
ended up looking like going forward. So that's what we'd love to see for the Country Club, is that type of involvement. And it would be my expectation, and I'm sure, and Trustee Ugrinsky and I have talked about this, that the CCMAC helps to lead that model.
I also have the code here for anyone who just wants to have a look,
But
if you haven't looked it up.
With all that being said, I still would like to see the references and the applications and the resumes of the people, so that I'm not making a vote in the dark. I'd like to have that information in advance. So if we can put a process in place that if we're going to vote on these, that we can forward that information without a request. It should just automatically come with it. Hey, this is who we're looking to add to this process. Here's their information, review it. If you have any questions, please let us know. I think that would simplify the process for everybody to make these votes.
Heard you.
So it might make sense for whoever's the liaison of whatever, like this should apply to
Everyone.
every
Acro-
aspect
across
of
the
the
board,
village,
yes,
right?
it should
So
definitely.
whoever the village trustee is, who is the liaison to a given function, if we're going to vote on approving a list of names, that person should probably send out something.
I agree.
So.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, assuming discussion is over.
Are all those people still interested in this position, Zena?
No, John Riley has withdrawn his, so we actually are opening it back up. We have one spot available on the CCMAC, and we still have to fill it. But it seems to me that we have a sufficient list to actually get them started doing something, like selecting a chair and determining terms,
It
meeting schedule,
establishes a
et cetera.
quorum.
Do we have to amend this resolution then? If,
I
Oh,
don't know
yeah,
what you want
well-
to do yet. So it depends. If there's
Yeah.
a motion and a second for a vote,
There is.
that vote can take place. Whether it passes or fails is whether or not it passes or fails. That's kind of where we're at in the process.
Yeah. And look, I just got the email this afternoon on John Riley Jr., so I think we can, the question is open, right? Are we going to vote on this
So it might make
tonight
sense
with the
to
exception of John Riley? Or do we want to,
We have a motion, we have a second.
okay?
But it
We
might
had
make sense
discussion.
to delay the vote until we receive the information. I mean, are we in a rush to make this vote today?
We have been operating without a CCMAC for
Mayor,
quite a
if
few
I may.
months.
I believe trustee Franco has a motion.
Oh. Okay.
Motion to table.
Motion to table.
Is there a second?
is there, sorry, go ahead.
Motion to table.
This
Resolution.
I'll second it for discussion.
Is it, is there anything that needs to happen before our public meeting for these folks? Because if there's nothing majorly critical over the next couple, like week and a half, 2 weeks, we can just table it. We can get the resumes and we can vote on this. I'm comfortable. If there's no major issue holding this, or for urgency, I think it would just be good for the group to just do it next time.
Maybe consider that, Lessings is doing a lot of work on the property. I want advice. I don't know if you do, but I want advice of the CCMAC on what's going on. I want them to be read in and have some opportunity to review. It's the height of the season, and we're operating without a management advisory council that is in our code.
Mayor, if I could just, what I think I'm hearing is there's currently not a quorum present to call a meeting of the CCMAC.
Correct.
Okay.
Well,
So,
yes.
From an interest of expediency, even if we leave out Mr. Riley, the 4 other members could possibly create the quorum to call a meeting and get the proverbial ball rolling before the next date, as opposed to 2 weeks from now and then another 2 weeks to organize, and then, so it saves some time bolstering what you just said as far as the height of the season and a lot of moving parts at the country club. I just wanted to clarify in my own head that without a vote tonight, there's no quorum to, even if something did pop up that needed immediate attention, we couldn't address it either way.
I think it's important to note that this group is a critical path for a number of things that we're talking about, right? The plans for the building renovation, the negotiations that may or may not occur with Lessings in regard to, shared use of space, and coordination with the Board of Governors, right? Because the Board of Governors can make recommendations, but they don't come to the Board of Trustees until it's been through the CCMAC. So the Board of Governors is operating sort of in a vacuum right now. So there is some urgency to it. If we can accelerate this in some way, I'm happy to do, the work necessary to get the proper documentation into everyone's hands. But I do think that we would then need to at least just have some kind of either a remote vote. I don't even know if that's a thing. Okay, so maybe we just have to come in the interim just for an hour in the evening to go through the stuff, and then to, be, we'll have to notice it, right? And then we would have to come in and we would vote, but there is.
Public meeting after the information is circulated would be like 2 days before our regular meeting. Right.
Yeah, because it has to
I
be
think we're only
noticed.
talking a few weeks.
2 weeks.
It'll give me an opportunity to review these. If I have any questions, then I can forward them to you, and we can answer it. I mean, I just think it's prudent to do that prior to a vote.
I have no problem with that.
Well, there's a motion and a second to table. Want to do a roll call vote?
Trustee Ugrinsky?
I'll go ahead and vote yes, in spite of, provided we're being as expeditious about this as possible, but we're still going to have to defer the vote till the 20-something? right?
7th.
27th.
Trustee Giuliano?
Yes.
Trustee Hill?
Yes.
Trustee Franco?
Yes.
Thank you. That passes 4-0.
And do you think we'll have the replacement for Riley at that point, or?
We're starting to look now.
Okay.
So,
All right.
again, for the public and everyone here, please encourage anyone you know that will bring something to the table and isn't afraid of some hard work to apply, because we do have one seat remaining. And the earlier that application gets in, the more they have a seat at the table for, you know, all other discussions and any pre-introductions prior to their first meeting.
With that, we'll move to resolution number 3, 81325, resolution approving the event application submitted by Glenn Shepro for the use of a portion of Harborfront Park and specified village streets, as well as village personnel for traffic control, from 8 o'clock a.m. through 10 o'clock a.m. on September 20th, 2025, for the annual Royal Education Foundation Family Fun Run. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 4, 81325, resolution approving the event application submitted by Alan Varela for the use of a portion of Harborfront Park from 11 o'clock a.m. through 4 o'clock p.m. on August 24th, 2025, for the annual Port Jefferson Sea Music Festival. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 5, 81325, resolution ratifying the hiring of Flavio Alvarez and Jonathan Bang as part-time seasonal tennis instructors for the village youth tennis programs at an hourly wage rate of $16.50 per hour, effective August 6th, 2025, through December 30th, 2025. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 6, 81325, resolution ratifying the title of head lifeguard for part-time seasonal employee John Shields at an hourly wage rate of $18 per hour, effective July 3rd, 2025. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
On the motion? So he's already gotten paid that, or he will, how do we do that, since it's July 3rd?
That will be in arrears,
Okay,
because he moved from lifeguard to head lifeguard.
okay.
It's the difference, I believe, is $1.50 an hour. Resolution number 7.
We didn't vote.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my apologies.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Sorry. Resolutions number 7 and 8 are in a revised format that I worked on with the treasurer. So hopefully, we're even more plain language than we were previously. So let's see. We have resolution number 7, 81325, resolution closing the fiscal gap for projected shortfall of Port Jefferson Country Club maintenance overtime line items at no net change to the budget by authorizing Treasurer Gafka to perform attached budget transfer number 35 as follows. Decrease expenses for line item CR 7989416, PJCCC, seed, by $1,818. Decrease expenses for line item CR 7989200, PJCC equipment purchases by $8,182. Increase expenses for line item CR 7989130, PJCC overtime by $5,000. And increase expenses for line item CR 7989140, PJCC double time by $5,000. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Okay, and one point of additional clarification. This is the, sort of the accounting necessary to enact what is happening in every single department, and that is as conditions change and people need to spend more on certain things, they are actively involved in also identifying savings that can be used to cover that. So this is an example of that conversation at the golf course. Budget management.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Resolution number 8, 81325, resolution revising the budget in the amount of $25,000 to reflect a portion of the revenue associated with the NYMER insurance rebate, and to budget the expense for the approved organizational review and assessment proposal in the amount of $25,000 by authorizing Treasurer Gafka to perform attached budget amendment number 107 as follows. Increase budgeted revenue for line item A 2680, insurance recoveries, by $25,000, and increase expenses for line item A 19204, municipal expenses, by $25,000. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just,
Go Question?
Not a question, but Steve, maybe you could just, for people that are listening, explain what the organizational review and assessment is? Or-
I can do that.
Okay.
Starting in mid-September, we have actually gone through this before, but for everyone's benefit, I'd like to reiterate, so thank you for asking. Starting in mid-September, we are having CGR and East End Accounting come in to this village and basically review the operational status that we have here in the following ways: interviews with department heads, interviews with employees. They're going to assess the roles that people actually play, job descriptions, and make sure that everyone falls under the proper tree, as it were, and see where duties could be expanded or maybe the opposite, and make sure that everyone is properly accounted for in terms of their titles and their job duties, and also to make sure that the employees are happy with what they're doing while making the village more efficient and effective. So we're very much looking forward to that assessment. It's needed, and we're looking forward to it. So thank you for asking.
Good explanation, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Are we all in favor? I'm sorry. I think we did that already, yes.
Oh,
Then
aye.
Bob stopped the
Yeah,
vote.
Yes, I
think
believe-
stopped it in
I just
vote.
wanted to,
Yeah.
for procedure, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, appreciate that. Resolution number 9, 81325, resolution authorizing the final payment of $9,700 to Campani and Schwarting Architects related to the New York State DOS Climate Resiliency Grant number C-100-1664 to be in accordance with the September 1st, 2025 New York State DOS grant deadline. In more plain language, if it's possible, we have a deadline of September 1st, not to pay, but to pay and to produce, correct me if I'm wrong, to pay and to produce proof thereof, and that could not happen if we approve this at our later in the month meeting. With that, may I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Add-on
You
resolution.
don't want their bios, their resumes, anything before you vote on that?
You seem
Just
to-
a joke, just a joke.
That seems to upset you, but that's okay. It's all right. I
No,
like
no.
jokes.
Yeah, that was a joke.
Resolution number 10, 81325, resolution approving a payment per the attached invoice to Eastern Property Services in the amount of $32,938.63 for the completion on July 8th, 2025 of sandblasting work at the East Beach revetment wall. Way of explanation. This one, I believe, is self-explanatory in its wording, but we have an invoice from the contractor from July 8th. We don't want, again, not prudent to wait until the end of the month for this, so we're asking that this please be approved this evening with a motion. We have a motion.
Motion?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did they
Thank-
finish painting that wall?
I believe so.
Yes.
DPW still has a coat to put on top of it. So
One more?
it's literally 3 phases, right? Sandblasting, a special primer that they used, then they painted it, and now DPW has one more thing they have to do.
Is it all that one black color?
I don't think the color's going to change.
No, it's all black, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all black. And will stay black.
Okay.
Our last resolution for this evening is the add-on resolution number 11, 81325, resolution scheduling a public hearing for 6 o'clock PM on August 27th, 2025, at Port Jefferson Village Hall, 121 West Broadway, Port Jefferson, New York, 11777, regarding a proposed local law amending Chapter 245, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 62, Schedule 14, no standing, and Chapter 245, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 71, Schedule 23, no stopping, of the Code of the Village of Port Jefferson to prohibit stopping and to prohibit standing from the southeast corner of the intersection of Old Post Road West and Dark Hollow Road for a distance of 300 feet east, and to prohibit stopping and to prohibit standing from the south side of Old Post Road West for a distance of 210 feet west of the intersection of Old Post Road West and Dark Hollow Road. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second? Oh,
We had that discussion, right?
We did.
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Unless anyone has questions or comments, that concludes my report, Mayor and Board.
It just as of Monday, the wall wasn't all painted yet, so you've all seen it? You know it is done?
No, no, I don't think it is. No, I think they have, as Zena said, I think they have another round today.
But that's DPW doing it,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
It looks good.
Yes.
It does look good,
Yeah.
yeah.
Phenomenal. All right, Treasurer Gafka, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. I'm just going to supplement my report a little bit since everybody's had a chance to read it. Been going, for the fiscal 26 budget, doing bi-weekly reports to all the department heads, trying to really give them all the information live, so to speak, when we do payroll, when we run checks, so that they can see their expense reports. And as it changes, like I can see it from my end more often. It'll help them, and I know that they've been appreciative. It helps them see what their budgets are and see how they're spending. One of the very interesting things about the procurement policy we put in place and how it's working now is that we're up to, I think our purchase order number is like 260. We didn't hit that number until December last year for purchase orders, which means we're getting our purchases ahead of time. We're procuring it, we're locking in that budget so that we're not overspending the lines, especially the country club. The moment that they've really got a handle on their requisitions, and they're doing a really good job of following that policy and really putting in their requests. And our membership office with Danielle, she's really stepped up and she's learned this process, and she's helping to get those requisitions in when either the pros or Pat doesn't have time. We're going to start transitioning where the invoicing and the payment of those invoices will be done through Danielle at the membership office, so that everything is on campus there, and it saves them time from having to run back and forth to Village Hall to drop their paperwork off, and then be told, hey, well, I need this, I need that, run back, and then come back. So it's going to start saving time and be more efficient, kind of along the lines with what this administration is really trying to do, become more efficient through all of our departments. So that's ongoing, and it's really exciting. The fiscal 25 audit.
Steve, are they seeing this, like, are they getting hard copies of it, or are they able to get into the system and
They can get into the system,
Great.
yes.
Good.
They have
So
access.
you don't have to print it, you don't have to print out reports for them.
I'm emailing Excel sheets because it's just easy. I have the format saved. So I'm emailing these sheets every 2 weeks, and this is another week I have to run it before the end of the week and send it out. So that will be happening by Friday. But they do have access to all of their line items so that they can see what's going on. The 25 audit, I'm working with R.S. Abrams, who are independent auditors, on uploads. I put a whole list of some of the just examples of things we have to upload and send to them, as well as I just received today the OPEB report, which is an update for our that's other post-employment benefits, which that's what OPEB stands for. Basically, the state has back about 10 or 15 years ago, they put into place a GASB regulation where we have to quantify what those post-employment benefits cost for all of our current employees forever. If they retire and they get their medical, and that generates a number which goes into the fiscal independent audit. I'm still working with the capital asset valuators. They had some questions, sent some comments back and forth. We're looking to get that wrapped up by the end of the month so that can then go to the independent auditors. Parking, we did, DPW with the new sign machine created some new high visibility signs to replace kind of the matte blue signs that were behind a couple of the meters. There's one in the Mariners Lot entrance and one on Arden by Traders Cove. I think they're very vibrant and bright, and I think they've got the reflective material. So I think the intention would be to put them near all of the meters, as well as try and keep it so it looks nice, the beautification aspect, keep it tight to the meter, also have the sign so people can see, hey, pay here, as well as future lighting that we're looking into to try and get so everybody can see where these meters are at night and any time of day. Really help the public be able to use them and feel safe going up to them and all of that. A little bit on the revenue. June was flat to last year for our revenue. We did 120,000 last year for June. Same thing for this year. July was 130 last year, 130 this year. So we didn't really see the uptick in the revenue. That's why we did that budget amendment last month to bring the budget down a little bit. August is slightly ahead. The weather has been very cooperative. It's been beautiful for the most part. So what we've seen trend-wise, and I had the intern who's been great, he's seen that, and I think I spoke about this last month, that when the weather is like really nice and it's not too hot, it's not too cold, and it's not raining, the revenue's up. And it's a direct correlation. So I hope to have some type of presentation I could provide on that. So it's an interesting, the weather, sunny and the different temperatures, it's pretty cool. So August is up a little bit over last year. I think we were at 45 through the 13th, and last year we were at 32. So, we're up slightly, and we'll see if that holds for the rest of the month. We did receive the debt service for the FEMA 4839 projects. That's the Sands Lane Culvert, the LKMA engineering proposal for the flood mitigation. That's another FEMA project. And also to do the sidewalks, the rest of the sidewalks around the tennis court and down to Barnum. So we do have those funds. I believe we just got the first bill for the Sands Lane Culvert repair for that, so they will be paid with those funds. And then we'll apply for reimbursement the moment that we're able to.
Good, and so we are receiving the FEMA funds, because I know people have come to me saying, we're not gonna get any FEMA money, we're not gonna get any FEMA money, but we are getting it, right?
I mean, we've already gotten some of the FEMA money
Good.
from the August 18th storm. We got the money for the drain cleaning ahead of time, just under $86,000. So
Perfect.
they gave that to us. We've done the work. We'll submit the proof. That'll close out that project.
Great.
So, so far, no issues.
Good, thank you.
And I'll open it up if there's any questions on the resolutions that I'll be asking for at the agenda meeting. I don't want to go through them line by line. So.
Are we
Yeah,
letting
these
everybody
are
read
plainer.
'em?
Huh?
No, actually, these again, are the
Already-
plainer language.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
already on there.
So what we tried to do, and took some editing, what we did, working in conjunction, was take what we did last month, which was the bold language under the resolution, and incorporate that actually into the resolution and start with that. So I discussed that idea first with Trustee Ugrinsky in her role as commissioner. The idea was, let's start with the plain language. Let's tell people where we're going to land, and then let's show them how we're going to do it. And then laying out the numbers differently so that we can show 5 from here, 5 from here, 10. Okay, that we tried to do it as simply as possible.
I like it. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah, and I can summarize these real quick. So one of the resolutions will be recognizing a grant in capital so that we can begin the process of closing out that capital expense line. We received parkland
Now you're going to
funds.
confuse it.
Huh?
It's like, you don't need to, Stephen.
Okay.
We did it. We did it. Thank you,
Okay.
thank you, thank you.
There's only
I saw
one-
everybody go to read, so I didn't know.
Yeah, no.
Wait a
there's-
minute, I finally learned Stephen. Now we're not going to use Stephen anymore?
Treasurer Gaff.
You know, the trustee wants to hear your version of it, so. Go ahead. I mean, are you just repeating what we just
Stephen,
talked
I'm
about?
only joking. It was
No,
a joke.
it's fine.
You
It's
understand?
fine.
It was
No,
too late.
it's all
You
good. If there are
understand.
questions, I'm happy to answer
All
them.
right. So, is it, so one other thing that the treasurer did not really talk about, and something that will be in all of your inboxes, is the new variance reporting format. So every month, we're going to generate a monthly variance to last year, same time. and versus budget at the line item level, so that you can also see the effects of some of these resolutions where Stephen is required to move money around. But it falls in line with what New York State and NICOM recommends in terms of what the boards of trustees should receive. And I think I've exhausted saying this, but all of the work we did last year was, in preparation for having the ability to do this. And that is for the month, for the year to date, and for the full year. And if you think about what the full year, why would the full year change? Only the light items ideally change, and it remains flat to budget. But if you were to look at the variances for full year versus budget, that should show you everything that the treasurer has done with the department heads to address overages, to adjust for, underspend, and make sure that we stay flat. So I look forward to getting that into all of your mailboxes for the country club for June. And then we have to figure out how to automate this, because it is not insignificant based on what comes out of our financial systems. So I'll be writing some VB script to help, but if I would welcome any kind of feedback on that reporting in terms of what you think is missing, what's not, what's good about it, what's bad about it, because I would like to propose that be normal operating procedure once we've figured out how to produce that in a way that doesn't kill the treasurer's office. And that concludes my remarks on the financial reporting for the village.
Do you want to jump, are you done, Stephen? Any more information?
Unless there's other questions.
Did you talk about parking revenue?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
But did you give us numbers? Like, I know you said we're up because it's August and the weather's nice and stuff like that, but do we know where we are in terms of where we were this time last year? And are we going to hit our numbers as projected?
Yes, I talked briefly. June was 120,000 last year, 120,000 this year. July was 130,000 last year. It's 130,000 this year. August, we're at 45,000 now. Last year, we were at 32,000 at this time.
Okay.
So I believe with the revised modified numbers, we're on target for that number. So.
And thank you. That would actually be in your report every month.
Okay.
Can you also include the transaction numbers? Because since the parking fee structure has changed, it would just be good to know how many cars
Metrics.
are coming.
Yeah, we should definitely, and we're looking at that for the golf course too, right? I mean, cart rentals and, guest rounds, and what are the metrics that should be at the bottom of the financials to give it context?
Yeah.
I can tell you that I did this report, I don't have the number in front of me, but I did this report from April 15th through the end of July, and we had 10,000 less transactions this year than last year. So we were at 65,000 last year, 55,000 this year.
Wow.
August, right now, we're up 1,000. But so it's, we'll see how it goes the rest of the year.
And the weather, yeah.
Okay, so can we jump from your report to Trustee Ugrinsky's
Absolutely.
Finance Commissioner?
Thank you
and-
very much.
Thank you.
I think, for finance, I don't think there's really anything that I need to add to that. If you want me to roll into the golf course, I can.
The golf course, the country club?
Country club.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, we continue to work with Lessings. I don't need to read this for you. I'm sure you can read it yourselves. But, we meet regularly with Lessings on the results, for example, of the Friday night event. So far, the events have been increasing in attendance, and interestingly enough, it's starting to look as if there are people who are not residents who are beginning to attend the Friday nights. And I think the most important thing that we can do with Lessings is ensure that we're working together as we go into the winter months, right, which are traditionally lower outdoor activities, so to speak. Course maintenance, there are a couple of things that we're dealing with right now. We continue to work through the volume of water and the intermittency of the watering system. That's causing some issues. We're also in the middle of a drought, so that's forcing them to be incredibly strategic in their watering schedule, particularly during the day when there's people out there golfing. And, so we continue to work on that. And other than the 2 hires that we just talked about in resolution, I do not have anything more to add to this, unless there are questions.
Yes, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
And it's in relation to the Meadow project up there. Can you kind of walk me through, do we have a contract with Lessings? Because you and I both met with Mr. Scalise.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I really would like to have this, because there is an active addendum contract negotiation going on, so if we could further discuss this in executive session, it'd be more appropriate.
Certainly, that would be fine.
Thank you.
Any questions on what's country club conditions, golf course conditions, anything else that's on here?
Yes.
Okay.
There, and it won't be contract related, but there is engineering, I'm assuming, on this project, the Meadow project, from Haydock or whatever. My battery went dead. I've been trying to get a copy of the actual engineering on the project. Is there engineering for the Meadow project?
So let's table that and let's explore that. Let me make a request.
Because I
I would have to imagine that, they're installing drainage, and it's got to be in conjunction with some of the other drainage conversations. So I would assume that Haydock is reviewing those for us.
Now, did we facilitate Haydock for these engineering reports, or were these engineering reports initiated by Lessings or one of their sub LLCs? Because when I spoke to Mr. Scalise with you the other day, he said that it was the village that has the engineering, not Lessings. So I'm just trying to figure out, because they just installed leaching pools, I believe they are. I just got a photo from, I think we all did, from Al in regards to the project. So I'm assuming there has to be some kind of engineering on this project, because we had discussed earlier the fact that they're leaving RCA as part of the sub-base before they're going to do a grass area, which is not a permeable material, so it won't drain. So there's a lot of things. So I really want to see the engineering so that I could come up with some coherent answers and questions to this project. So you'll say that someone will be able to get me the engineering or determine whether or not we have engineering on this project.
As the liaison, I'm going to work with you to see about what the answer to that question is, because right now I don't know it off the top of my head.
Okay.
Were you on the site today?
I was not on the site today. Al sent pictures to all of us. I'm sure he sent it to you also. But I've been on the site several times, and I was there on a Wednesday, and the head of the grounds and the crew were installing sprinkler systems at the site. That's why I had noticed, I took some pictures about how much RCA is there on the north portion of the,
What is RCA?
it's crushed concrete that you put underneath asphalt, if you're gonna lay a road down, or what was underneath the tennis courts to give it additional support, so it doesn't pump. So it's recycled concrete.
And you know this, like, I don't even know that there's RCA there. How do you
Well,
know it's RCA?
Well, I've worked many years in construction, and with my background, I went and looked at the material, and it is material that is consistent with RCA.
Can I ask a question? And again, it might be an ignorant question. I recently did an area at my house for my dog. It's turf. And they leveled it with dirt, then put 4 inches of RCA, and then the turf on top of that, because the RCA is permeable.
It's impermeable. It doesn't allow drainage. It actually hardens so that that turf.
Is there
material-
different versions of RCA? Like, I know also you can do a top coat on a road of RCA with a solvent in it that binds it to make it the road, or a bottom layer of a road. I also know from my little bit of experience that RCA is also recycled concrete aggregate is what it is.
That is
And
correct.
unless you add a binder, it doesn't bind.
Well, the binder is typically the lime that it's mixed with, so it doesn't harden originally. It'll eventually will harden in place. That's what stops your dog kennel area from getting all these undulations in it. But again, this is why we're in the middle of a project here, and
we don't know if there's engineering.
And we that's-
Hold off on that discussion.
but
Yeah, let's
I
answer
think
the
I think that's
question
actually
first.
the point. We're in the middle of a project where we're investing time and material and money, and we don't have engineering on a project
We
that's.
don't know if we have
Well,
engineering on the
I'm saying we don't know if I just said the same thing you did. And we're investing time, material, and money on a project that is next to the bluff, that we have erosion problems, that we don't have the GEI engineering reports back. So it seems like we're working in the dark. It's kind of like voting on someone when you don't have their resume. So I think that's why we should the process means something. And I think that's why we have to get these, I've been asking for nearly 3 weeks for the engineering on this project, so hopefully we can find them. Thank you.
I don't know if AI is wrong, but recycled concrete aggregate is generally more permeable than natural aggregates. That means that water and other fluids can pass through it more easily due to its porous nature.
And I also did some research myself, because I knew, that question might come up, and it's actually not.
So I'll answer the
Like I said, I
question.
don't know if AI
I
is
was,
wrong or not.
I was hoping trustee Ugrinsky could answer the question. I'll answer the question that Hayduck has been up at the site. They have advised on the type of drainage that should be installed. They were up there with an engineer, inspector, while the work was being done. They are our consulting engineer. So we meet biweekly with Hayduck, and Hayduck provides us updates on the work that they're doing. They've been looking at that facility for many, many weeks now in conjunction with the GEI project. So, and they've been consulting with us where GEI is giving us information. They are reviewing the information on behalf of the village because they're engineers and they know what they're looking at. And the mayor and the board do not have a professional engineering degrees, so we are not able to look at that material without the help of Hayduck. So, I was going to go into this during my report today, but I'll start now. I don't know if Zine is done.
I am.
So I'll start from Lessings. Lessings so far has invested over $1.1 million into the country club building, internally, and some externally. The village's contribution to the project that we're calling the Meadow is labor-related. It is the outside of the country club facility is a village-owned property. So from there, Lessings has invested in the electrical work, the drainage, the fill, the topsoil, and the sod. So once the sod comes in, the staff that is employed by the country club will assist with with the laying of the sod. So, and Hayduck has evaluated and is consulting on the drainage. So, and that project is probably, I'm not sure how much yet, but it'll probably run Lessings about $70,000 to $75,000. And out of pocket for the village is probably engineering consulting, which is a good investment. And that's what we pay our engineers to do, is to consult for us when we need it.
We do know that there's been coordination on the drainage that's happening on, like, quote unquote, the meadow, that is being coordinated with GEI to ensure that, if it needs to be scaled or it needs to be attached at some point to the drainage plan there, that's being anticipated and built into the pictures that we've all seen that came from Al.
So with that being said, if Hayduck and GEI coordinate, if Hayduck and GEI are coordinating with each other, it would lead me to believe that there are reports and engineering and updates. Can they please be provided for review? Mayor, I'm sure that you said you meet with them twice a week, is that correct?
Every other week, I
Every
guess.
other week,
I might
so-
have said twice a week. But
I'm
if
sorry.
I did, I
So-
misspoke.
So it's, so if we have this information, it would be really helpful, because we're eventually going to have to vote on things, to have that material in place to review it and see where we're going with this project.
So one of the things that I've been speaking with the clerk about this week is to maybe invite GEI in once a quarter to give an update to the Board of Trustees and talk through all the projects and whatnot.
That would be a great idea.
So just to go back to the drainage study that GEI provided to a draft of to the village and to our engineers, we put it in the hands of GEI, of Hayduck to review that study. It was a multi-page study. Hayduck took a look at it and provided a 3 or 4 page response with questions and concerns. And so it's premature to present the study to anyone because our consulting engineer isn't even happy with it yet. So that's following the process that makes sense for the
Mayor,
village.
if I indulge me, because as we're moving towards plain language, right? Our 2 outside engineers are working together to develop the best plan for drainage that includes whatever might happen on the bluff as well as what we're calling the Meadow project. So they've been in constant contact with each other and on site and working together to develop the complete plan, whether or not it could be tied in later or not. So both of their engineerings are in draft form and they're working on it together. Would that conclude then that we don't have a copy of those reports yet because they're just interagency reports?
It really is.
That's what I'm asking.
It's a work in progress.
Attorney Moran, I would respectfully, with one component that disagree, to say that the Meadow engineering.
question, so I don't
know how
you disagree with
Well, no, I'm just saying with the result, I apologize. But in the end, that the Meadow project has to have engineering. We're installing things. We're putting in sprinkler systems. We're running electrical lines. We're tying things together. We're going to put down a sod sprinkler system. Yes,
What
there has to
electrical
be.
lines are we running, and what things are we tying together?
Well, we're tying a sprinkler system together. We're also tying.
There was irrigation in there.
Let me finish, you asked, and I'll answer the
There-
question.
We're not tying anything together. We're
So you
repairing
have
irrigation that was
You
already
installed a
there.
French drain system with these leaching pools. So clearly, there is engineering designs that were put in place. This is not just someone looking at it and doing it. There was a plan in place for it. That's all I'm asking, is to see the plan and what's going on. This is.
And so
that's-
far,
that's
what I'm
available.
hearing from the liaison and the mayor is the plan doesn't exist yet.
Not ready to be
Not ready to be shared yet.
publicly, yeah. But when it's ready to be shared to this
I'm
group,
just
it would go
trying
there
to get to the
first.
bottom of whatever we're arguing about.
I think folks might be talking past each other. There should be a engineering plan for what's going on right now at the Meadow, and then there's, in conjunction, not just setting that up, but the whole drainage issue is the larger issue that GEI is working with, that Hayduck had robust feedback on,
Mhm.
and that's why that plan is not ready, because Hayduck says it's not ready. I don't know if it would be inappropriate for us to look at that. I would prefer to spend my time looking at the final one. But if folks do want to stay on it more closely, I think that makes sense too, right?
I just don't know. From a professional's, like if I was writing a legal brief that I was going to submit on an appeal, I wouldn't want anybody to look at it and judge it before I'm completed with it and Google what RCA is and then come up with an opinion like I just did wrongfully, apparently. I agree with you. It should be a final. But if it either exists or it doesn't at this point, right? Any engineering that anyone's asking for.
But there should be two. There's one that's going on with what's the Meadow. Like there should be a plan for that. You said you don't have it. That's fine. I think.
I don't have it,
Yeah,
but we
or-
can
yeah,
certainly
yeah,
provide an
we can
update,
ask,
right?
Yeah, and then separately, there's the whole drainage issue going on, and that's not ready for folks to pick apart
Until
yet.
Hayduck's
Until Hayduck says so.
beaten the,
Yeah.
the issues out, right? At that point, I think you said you'd prefer to read something that has the stamp of approval of our internal engineering firm. Yeah, I agree with that.
Another update on the Bluff project is we got a recommendation from GEI recently for steps for gully stabilization at the Bluff. And so our engineering firm is looking at that, reviewing that. And we also got an email from this Anna from the Civic Association, who has been looking into the types of vegetation that might work for the Bluff. And so she submitted, I don't know, did all the trustees get that? So
Mhm.
I'm going to take that and I'm going to share that with GEI, Laura Schwarnoff, our landscape engineer, to see if that makes sense and to cross-check what she recommended for the gully stabilization against what Anna sent, and then see if she has any feedback on the material that Anna sent.
Are you going to stay on the Bluff for a bit? I just have one question.
Please,
really.
feel free.
The
Yep.
Citizens Commission on Erosion sent a pretty robust response to GEI's annual report. They had some really good questions in there that I would like the answers to.
Yeah.
Is there any status update on those? One of them was related to the gullies.
Yeah.
Because I think they were rightfully so dissatisfied with the recommendations there, because it was kind of fix the gullies. Well, tell us how.
Yeah.
So
That's what we talked about
Yeah.
in our last meeting with GEI and Hayduck. Again, we meet with GEI every other week as well. And any trustee, usually it's Trustee Giuliano because he's Public Works and Parks, but if a trustee would like to join in those conversations, work it out amongst yourselves and see who wants to be in there. And, they're professional conversations, and they're very collegial, and respectful. So we want to welcome trustees, and often I will invite trustees into meetings and situations that I think would benefit. And if they're available and free and they happen to be around and we're having a meeting, I ask them to sit in on it. Trustee Hill sat in on a meeting today with the Planning and Building Department to see what made, so there isn't a lot of outreach going on from Rita saying, Trustee Hill, Trustee Giuliano, Trustee Ugrinsky, would you like to sit in this meeting? It's just sort of like, come to Village Hall, see what goes on here, and you're welcome to sit in on meetings and take part and spend time with the mayor, spend time with the treasurer. Doors are open, and you'll find when that happens, I don't know, Bob, you came up to the Fred Astaire dance studio with me this week, and there's just so much going on. It's hard to keep track of everything and invite everybody to everything, but the invite's always there. It's the people's house, it's the people's business, and there's no secrets here. So in terms of the gully repair, we had a very robust conversation about that this week, and the outcome was, okay, we need to figure out who's going to do what. The clerk is reaching out to Terry Construction to see if they'll jump in and how much they'll do of what's been recommended. The recommendation is not to refill the gullies with any kind of soil, but to carve out the matting, the landscape mat, and take that out and replant some of this vegetation, and just continue to monitor and replant. Because right now, if you look at the bluff from the water, and people have been looking at the bluff from the water, and they look at it in relationship to other sections of bluff along Port Jefferson, Miller Place, Rocky Point, et cetera, the feedback is very positive because it looks very highly vegetated and robust. And I guess Al Kasari walked up the bluff face. He rappelled up the bluff face using the grasses, and not advisable, probably not even legal, but we don't have signs there, so we should put them up. Please stay off the bluff. Don't climb on the bluff. But yeah, we're going through the project plans to figure out how to best restore and continue to vegetate the bluff face. The landscape architect has said that the natural pollination will pollinators will populate the vegetation as well as time goes on, and the GEI has provided us with an updated schedule. That's a sequencing schedule that is still they're not following, so we have to look at that. And again, we have the drainage study and the topographical study, but the feedback from HADUC and an on-site review by HADUC found some issues that just need to be addressed. So we will be addressing them. In terms of other engineering projects and the FEMA grant for the August storms, which is almost a year ago now. So there is an issue with the Centennial Park wall that sits under the Yacht Club building and above the parking lot that is used for people who utilize that beach, which is licensed to us by the town of Brookhaven. And the Yacht Club is also licensed to them by the town of Brookhaven. So we are both on Brookhaven Town property. And we're trying to work out with FEMA because our engineers took a look at it structurally and indicated that have I talked about this before? Because if I have, I don't want to repeat myself. But there's been a cursory review by a construction company that looked at the project and said, fixing this wall after the August storms would probably cost you $128,000. So that was a surface review. FEMA came and Dishes came and actually walked the property and said, well, there's more to it than that. We think you should get a structural evaluation by a structural engineer. So we did. Hayduck sent a structural engineer out, did an evaluation, and suggested a more robust repair of the wall and the upland of the wall. So we met, and I know I talked about this. We met with the town. Bob was there, and we talked about, how can we work with you on getting this project done. And they were receptive, but not committal. But in the meantime, our grants administrator and our DPW have been meeting with FEMA Dishes to discuss the nature of the work that needs to be done. And so there's some back and forth on this, and our engineer is indicating that this definitely comports with some engineering requirements, regulations that FEMA's disputing a little bit, but bottom line is the cost to fix that wall, the way that to address the structural issues is almost $750,000 and maybe just a little north of $750,000. So we're really working hard to get FEMA to approve that project. If FEMA doesn't approve that full project, we still have the funding available that they did approve, and then we can work with the town and the yacht club to see how we restore that wall. Because as of right now, it is marked as unsafe, and that people should use caution when parking there. So under the wall, because some of those concrete blocks have been dislodged due to the erosion. So the yacht club is asking us if they can use that property during the regatta. Our answer is, unfortunately, our engineers have said that it is not safe. So that's our answer. That's prior notice, correct? In the world of municipal insurance. So we want to get that project done quickly. The debate continues between our engineers and the administrators of the FEMA grant. So that's where that stands right now, as of today, actually. There's also, do you want to talk about the diesel tank at and the pump at DPW?
So DPW started to notice that there was an issue with the gas pump and the electronic system with that gas pump up at DPW for all the vehicles. When our company came down to take a look at what was going on, they said that you have sustained some type of damage to this. When they pulled the pump out, you need to replace your pump and your electronics. That damage was sustained from the August 18th and 19th storm. And our grant
We identified recently.
right, just identified because of the issues that have been creeping up, the technological issues. And our grant administrator reached out to FEMA to try and get that addressed.
And is negotiating that with them.
Exactly.
So far, we're kind of optimistic, but we're not that optimistic where we're going to say it's actually going to be approved. But it's a $30,000 expenditure.
I was just going to say,
Yeah,
Mayor,
it's
it's
$30,000,
a two-part, it's a two-part fix. One part is approximately 20,000 and the other part is approximately 10, so fingers crossed.
And anyway, that the pump at the golf course is the result of the August storms too?
We can ask.
When did it start?
It's situation is a little bit different than this one, but we can
In your
certainly
opinion?
look at the timing.
Say, in my opinion.
Timing.
Yeah, we have to look at the timing. Yeah, it's worth finding out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It occurred to me today when we were talking to Lisa that we need to ask that question. Um, The other thing that our engineers did this week was, or last week, actually, the end of last week, and we had talked about this on our engineering call about East Beach Bluff project, is we discussed the roof drainage system at the country club to confirm where they go. So this is the responsibility of the village because it's external to the building. So Stephen Haydock and Peter Scully came by and evaluated all the drainage from the gutter system. And it's definitely challenged. It's definitely problematic. There are things that have to get addressed, and we are going to look at it, doing that in association with the project itself. Because the watershed from the building is running northeast. So just like all the water basically is on the east side of the building. And what was the other thing that they were doing? Evaluating the drainage system that was installed there during the Phase 1 project on the east side tennis courts. They're evaluating that more closely. So on another front, we've been invited, the village has been invited by the Long Island Sound Coastal Resilience, Long Island Sound Partnership to attend and present at the Coastal Resilience Forum that's happening in Port Jefferson at the Village Center in October. So they are very interested in Port Jeff providing an overview of our resilience planning initiatives and providing a walking tour of the village. So that's like an hour-long walking tour. So then that will be followed by an optional networking at the Port Jefferson Brewery. So anyway, I thought that was a very interesting invitation and shared it with our engineers, and would also think of inviting McLean Associates to participate in that, since they're so heavily involved with the planning of our flood reduction study. Haydock is also looking at some flooding issues at a residence on Doyle Court, and they're bringing an engineering plan to visit that issue. Their initial assessment, not written yet, is actually that there is inadequate drainage installed on Doyle Court, and everything is going down to the court area into one drainage system. And that's a superficial evaluation, but they're putting together a full blown study on that based on the amount of flooding that happened in that 9-inch storm.
I'm really happy to hear that. I think the residents on Doyle are going to be ecstatic.
Well, the study's one thing in the plan.
Understood, but movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's movement.
So, just want to give a quick update on the country club is hosting the annual village golf outing tomorrow. There's a record 98 players in the field, so that's pretty successful sign up, and it should be fun. The official signature cocktail, I don't even know why I'm saying this, but it's Stan Laux is the honorary tournament chairperson, and every year we have a new tradition of creating a signature cocktail that the concessionaire creates. This year it's called the Stanley. And there's a special recipe that is made up of former trustee Laux's favorite alcohol, I guess, which is gin, mixed with a little bit of Saint Germain, sweetened by Port Jeff Country Club made honey. I don't know if you're all aware. Maybe you are. I think it had to do with Rebecca. I should have mentioned it when she was here. She wanted beehives up at the country club, and so last year they were installed, and they harvested 7 bottles of 16 ounces of honey, Port Jeff Country Club honey. It's not what it's called because the maker of the honey is in Setauket, but they got 7 bottles out of it, and that's what they'll use to sweeten. No simple syrup in this cocktail. They're using honey to sweeten the cocktail. So, and it's going to be topped off with a little Prosecco or something like that. I don't know. So, anyway, it's going to be a morning drink because everybody gets a free ticket who comes and plays. So it's 98 free drinks issued at the club. So we'll see how popular that is. And that's all for me. I'm sure there's much, much more, but yeah, I'm going to talk to Hayduck about making a quarterly presentation to the Board of Trustees so that they can answer all questions. Hayduck. Mm-hmm. They'll present the GEI work too.
Yeah.
And the questions, Trustee Hill, that the Citizens Commission on Erosion put together is being responded to by our firm with information from their firm.
Great, thank you.
Trustee Giuliano? Oh, wait, can I just add one more thing?
Go right ahead.
So I asked, Supervisor Cooper has been doing a lot of the, issuing a lot of the COs and a lot of the building application approvals. And I just wanted to read off his list that he presented at our department head meeting. That's another meeting, Trustee Franco, that you'd be welcome to attend if there's not another trustee there, to hear how the business of the village operates. Departments get together, and every other Monday
Every other Monday,
morning.
starting at 9 o'clock. We just had one?
Yeah, we just had one this
We
Monday.
just had one.
So Trustee Giuliano was there, Trustee Ugrinsky's has been in those. I don't know if Trustee Hill has ever been in those, but you're all welcome, but you have to work it out within yourselves.
Thank
and
you.
how-
I've been bouncing between meetings,
Okay.
kind of acclimating myself, but that would be nice to come to that. Thank you. Plus, while I'm speaking, I believe you are the ladies' champion at the golf course.
Women's.
Women's,
Yeah.
women's champion at the golf course. Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So COs that have been issued since July: Mather Hospital's cafe and caregiver rooms, Mather Hospital's new emergency department, St. Charles Hospital's antenna project on the roof, the dance studio at 1615 Main Street, which is on the first level of the Port Jefferson, it's Commons, which is the
Yes,
first,
Crossing.
which is,
Crossing.
Crossing is the second building, right?
Crossing is the first one. Commons is the second.
The one closest to the railroad station.
Well,
They're opening, and we're really staying away from that because it's confusing. It's not Conifer 1 and 2. It's the Crossings and the Commons. So it is a Fred Astaire dance studio, and they're going to start opening up for business very, very, very soon. That's exciting. The space looks beautiful. And they'll do a ribbon cutting with the chamber, I'm sure, in the coming days, months, weeks. The new yoga studio in East Main Street, where the former youth library was. And then business registrations, the new owners at Ditch have applied for all of their permits and licenses. And Ditch is where Whiskey Barrel used to be, or Spy Coast. Spy Coast used to be. So, yeah, so I'm asking Supervisor Cooper for those updates every month for his work reports so that we know what businesses are coming and going on a regular and consistent basis.
Okay. I'm up.
Yeah.
All right, as far as DPW, July events. They had the 4th of July and the fireworks events, so they worked with the fire department on those 2 events, and thank you for that, all that work between DPW, Parks, and Recreation. They're doing some road work, a couple of sinkholes on Westview, Longacre, and Village Lot behind Danford's was repaired. They've been filling and repairing potholes at various locations. We spoke about the water main break that we had in front of the old Eklund Building, 14 East Main Street. So it's been patched, and we'll get the contractor to do the final repair once everything is settled.
Well, Sylvia intervened on that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
With the ferry company?
Yes,
Mhm.
correct. Thank you, Maureen.
Okay.
I've been working on traffic lane, parking lane, and stencil painting. They've been doing basin cleaning. Rosemar has a list of the 48 basins, as we discussed, cleaned out of debris. Perform maintenance of various vehicles throughout, various village vehicles. Treatment of the exposed, they're completing the application of the treatment to the exposed metal on the East Beach parking lot. As of Monday, they haven't been completed. I don't think it's been completed yet, but they're working on that. Seasonal maintenance and cleanup of village parks, beaches, and other property. Parks goes around and, cuts lawns, weeds, all that sort of stuff. Parks is continuing to power wash sidewalks in the commercial area. Placed watering bags on various trees as suggested by the tree committee, and Trustee Hill informed me that the bags are in, but they need watering, so we have to go back to them and make sure that they fill the
Are they
bags up with
empty?
water.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
been,
only the ones that I checked from my house to Village Hall. I don't know about the others, but I assume.
In the parking lot in the back?
so we'll have them go check those and
Okay.
make sure they're,
Yeah, I mean, they're going around with the water truck.
right,
So-
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Village Center and Recreation Youth Camp began June 30th, and is ending on the 15th, August 15th. So far, or for the month of July, 9,824 people entered the Village Center. Renee is preparing winter farmers market applications and completing the fall and winter park and recreation brochure. So, summer's done, they're already thinking fall and winter. As Sylvia said, they talked to USTA to seek aid in rebuilding and refurbishing the tennis courts, village tennis courts here. Golf outing, as we discussed, is tomorrow, and the village regatta is September 6th. The CAC meeting is scheduled for August 19th. Tree Committee, we met on August 8th. They are still progressing with the Year of the Tree, and they're looking to present the status to the Board of Trustees, hopefully at the September 10th work session. They're going to give me a brief outline, and then I'll forward it over to you and see if we can get them scheduled for the September 10th meeting. For the tree committee, for the Year of the Tree, for the, what they've been doing with, with the schools. She's met with various teachers and various administrators over at the school, and just getting,
So they're working with the school district on
they're
that.
working with the school district, and then they're tying in the village with the village, at Recreation Center, and different events that they want to have, so that'll all be filled in for that. Arbor Day, mark your calendar. Arbor Day is April 22nd, 2026. It'll be here before you know it. They discussed the pros and cons of conducting a tree inventory throughout the village, and they can be discussing that further. Looking at code to make a couple of suggestions for changes concerning permits for removal of trees. We got an ad hoc committee meeting that will be doing that, and then we'll present it to Sylvia for public notice and everything. Parks and Rec, they met on August 8th as well. We had a new member come in, Matt Macarius. Seems like he's going to be a great addition to the group. So we welcomed one, and unfortunately Rima Potter is stepping down from the chair as well as the committee in total due to time constraints and family schedules. So we'll need another member and a new chair for that committee. And they also discussed the kayak auction, Sylvia. I don't know if what we can do for the kayaks that we have to get rid of them so that we can.
Last I heard, Last I heard, trustee, we did not have many left, so I'll
Oh,
check that. Thank
okay.
you. Thank you for
Good.
telling me that.
Actually, that's better, so.
Thank you.
Can we go back to the tree committee for a quick
Sure.
second? Two things that the tree committee discussed that I think we should discuss as a board. One are the holly trees behind Village Hall
Mhm.
that are growing into Village Hall, both below and above. And Kathleen Riley's proposal to work with getting trees in a certain area in the, what, she's been working on that for a very long time.
Yes, and she's been very patient, and I appreciate that. But, so let's talk about that one first. So as far as Kathleen goes, they
We have
talked.
the funds, right? We
they-
have $25,000.
We have the
from-
funds, the tree committee has the funds.
The village has the funds.
Has the funds, yes. So the trees can be planted, it's just a matter of working with the Long Island Railroad is the issue. So we're setting up a meeting with somebody from the railroad, just to say, okay, this is the where the line is, this is where you can plant, this is what you can plant and where you can plant. And then they'll be making a recommendation to the board. As far as the holly trees, I think we're waiting to hear back from Ashland to see if they have an arborist to take a look at that, see if they can be trimmed back or if they have to be removed in total, so.
Any word on that?
I'll update as soon as I hear back.
Okay. We talked about the Commission on Erosion, that committee. Conservancy, they're meeting on the 19th. Again, they're finalizing the website. The hill climb was last Saturday. It was a great success. They had over 35 cars climb the hill. The next gala is Casino Night, and that's scheduled for November 13th. The mayor and I met with President Lisa Perry and Vice President Larry LaPointe to discuss needs for various needs at Harborfront Park, especially for the stage area and lighting. So we'll work on that and see if do
There's
some
a meeting.
fundraising so we can get that. So.
We have a meeting next week
And we-
set
yeah.
up.
Yeah. And he says we already talked about that?
You want to talk about that a little? I'd love to hear what the other trustees think about that.
Sure. The mayor suggested, and called the meeting, we met to talk about the stage, primarily about the stage. Stage needs, we've been told from, who was it,
guy who
Andy
built
48?
it.
Yeah, the guy who did. That the stage is in need of, it's not a safety issue, but it needs some repair and some maintenance. So then we discussed, maybe we can expand the stage and, looking at, at our needs and what we really need for the stage, and, we can expand it. We can make it larger. And then we also discussed lighting in the park area. The bollard lighting that is there you cannot get anymore. As a matter of fact, I think they're made in England, and I don't think they make them anymore. So we have to look at a new lighting plan, or at least a replacement for the bollard lighting that we have.
And they're always being vandalized.
And they're being kicked over, and it's so close to the salt water too.
The
that
things that
the
they
low
topple
ones, the low
over,
ones
the
that
kids
are
kick
along
them,
the
I
walkway.
don't know who kicks them over, I
Yeah.
don't see who kicks them over, but they're knocked over all the time, and the electrical wires are exposed, and they're beautiful, and we're looking for an aesthetic equivalent.
Right.
But, the Conservancy, the reason why we're meeting with the Conservancy for the benefit of Trustee Franco, I don't know if you're familiar with what the Conservancy does for the village, but, okay, so if they look for projects to fund, and these are two things that sort of are rising to the top. And we have concerts at Harborfront Park on the Circle using the Showmobile. And we have concerts at Harborfront Park in the corner using the Jill Neese Russell stage. And the question is, and the question that the Conservancy is going to start pursuing is there an opportunity now to fundraise for a project that consists of like removing the need for the Showmobile to be brought down all the time and have all of the concerts performed under a cover that's elongated so that bigger bands can and bigger performance artists with more people can actually use that stage instead of having to cart the Showmobile over to the Circle for those concerts.
Right, and the showmobile itself is
Getting long in the tooth.
it's being held together by gum and paper clips, yeah. Dave
not
works.
unsafe.
No, but Dave works on it all the time, no, but he has said for a while now that we have to start looking at something, you know.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's a whole nother story, but
Yeah.
the stage would be kind of nice to have everybody looking towards the
Right.
water
Yeah.
with concerts and whatnot, so. Have y'all been to those concerts on Wednesdays or Thursday nights in the summer?
Hmm?
Tomorrow night is Led
Yeah.
Zeppelin,
Mm-hmm.
and they're promoting it heavily. Just saying. Anyway, worth a look, definitely worth the price of admission. Anyway, so that's the nature of the discussions with the Conservancy. If there's anything that this board if you have ideas about what you think could work, I mean, talk to Trustee Giuliano. He's at the meetings, but raise it. And but I think the president and the vice president and the Arts Council kind of like the concept of making the stage a little bit more bigger if we can.
Makes it more
and
usable, yeah.
Putting some shelter there for the elements, the sun and the rain. So that was it.
That's my report.
I have a couple of questions, if I may.
Shoot.
So DPW, we had the sinkhole on Longacre that
Mhm.
had the storm drain issue with the wall failed. But we also have, a sinkhole in Westview and the Danfords lot. Like, do we know why those are happening?
And I think when they're describing the sinkholes, it's not a true.
It's an indentation.
It's an indentation.
Okay,
yeah.
not a sinkhole.
Yeah, it's not a true sinkhole.
Okay.
So, you look at the pavement and, maybe a 4x4 square is
Have they
indent.
been officially reported and DPW is
Yes,
going
DPW 's,
they're
yeah.
looking at them,
Mhm,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then on the, so just as to update you, we're going to be asking Renee, or actually Treasurer Gafka is going to be asking Renee. You remember we did the analysis on the rental rates.
Mm-hmm.
So the rentals are behind schedule, and we would just like to understand what's being used so far. So if and we put all that scheduling in place, I don't know, when was that? 6-8 months ago? When we did the rates analysis?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
beginning of the
it'd be
year,
great
yeah.
to see what they're tracking, how they're tracking it now, and
Okay, I'll speak to Renee about that.
that'd be awesome. Thank you. Oh, and for the CAC, sound system, is that already on the list, the sound system for the Village Center?
Conservancy, she meant.
Oh, okay, you said CSC.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, they did purchase
The concern.
a sound system just recently.
Great, okay.
Last week, so.
So- Done
Does-
already.
Is it more than one speaker? You
I don't know. I
You
haven't
have to
seen it.
take a
It's
look
not the
at
one
it.
that we use for
Okay.
the hill climb.
no,
Yeah,
I
we
know.
borrowed that, and thank you to Tommy Prevention for that, but that's not the one, but.
Okay.
So I haven't seen it, so I don't know what.
So, yeah, they did. They invested in one. If it has enough speakers, that's the question.
Yeah, we just don't want to be in that situation again if we have Meet the Candidates Night or even other events
We
where.
don't put on Meet the Candidates.
Right.
That's not our event.
Um,
But it would be nice if the Conservancy wanted to lend their speaker system to the people who do run the Meet the Candidates Night.
Yes.
Agreed.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's
All
part
right,
of the
let's go
facility.
down the row.
Do we, sorry, one more question for Bob. Did we ever schedule the beach cleanups? Wasn't there was an organization that
Coastal
wanted to do-
Steward.
Coastal
yeah.
Steward.
And I think there were 3 possible
Sylvia would
dates.
know that, I
But,
think.
yeah.
Yeah, I think my deputy was working with them.
Okay.
Mary was.
We approved it, right?
We
Yeah.
did, yeah.
The dates
but
were.
we approved an option of dates,
Right.
and I
Yeah.
think of 3, and I was just wondering if we settled on one yet.
I don't know if it's settled. I will find out.
I'm only asking because I just want to make sure I don't schedule to be away that weekend or something.
'Cause you wanna
Yeah, I want to go.
participate?
Yeah.
Hey, well, you can clean the beach anytime,
I know,
pal.
but it would be fun to do it with everyone. My turn.
Yes.
All right. So in July, code issued 1,070 parking tickets. That's compared to 644 tickets were issued in July 2024. So that's a continuation of a trend since we've onboarded Supervisor Cooper and Supervisor Flamia of just much more robust enforcement, which is great. Code received 8 online complaints, all quality of life conditions. They also prepared 15 incidents reports for calls received via the code phone. I always like to remind folks you can text the code number as well. 2 issues that they've been monitoring. One is they've been working with Suffolk County PD personnel on e-bikes. We talked a little bit about that with the Assemblywoman. And young adults congregating late nights in the Gap parking lot, and I think also at the Frigate as well. We also received a complaint that same thing is happening over in the Brookhaven lot over by Beach Street. I connected with Supervisor Cooper, and he said that he's going to make sure that code enforcement just goes and checks to see if they need to call PD, Suffolk County Police, to have folks move along. And I also reached out to Assemblymember Kornreich's office, and they said they were also going to do. Yeah. Also going to send out or have their own code enforcement check as well. So thank you. And then code assisted with the hill climb, which was a great event. And also be assisting with the 2025 Family Fun Run and the boat build at Harborfront Park. Is it this weekend?
I think it's definitely worth a look at that. It's Saturday and Sunday. I
Okay.
think. Pretty sure. You have the permit, right? I don't want to put you on the spot, but can you scroll through your magical device there and see if you can find that permit from LISEG? In the meantime,
Doesn't sound familiar at this moment.
what do you call it, boat build, yeah. We moved it and we approved it because it was originally scheduled to coincide with the regatta.
Right.
Remember? Okay.
So the Public Safety Advisory Council met at the beginning of the month, and just some of the things that we brought up. So there's be some modifications of where the speed readers are going, and I emailed you about this, but I'm going to update the board. We agreed to put a speed reader on East Main. That had been agreed to earlier, but the speed reader is up there now. And we do have the first week or weekend, I think, plus a day worth of data, which is actually really interesting. So there's 10,000 vehicles that went by in the week, which is, I think, more than I'd expect. And the minimum speed was 10 miles an hour. Average speed is 15. The speed limit is 25. So we were concerned that folks were speeding through. However, the max speed was 41, which is extremely fast for that part of the village. The road bends. There's tons of pedestrians, a lot of children that go there too. Yeah, but there were really only 2 violators of those 10,000. So it seems very few violators, but the ones that are very bad. So we're going to have to just see. I think it'll be interesting to see how the whole month goes, and get a few more weekends in there too, to see, if we want to do more speed mitigation. And folks do, another interesting thing that we have seen that folks do tend to slow down when these readers are here, but this one was a lot less than where we've placed the other readers, which also makes sense because you can only slow down so much on, hopefully you're not going that fast anyway. But part of the plan also, we got comments from residents with the school year starting. They asked to put traffic mitigation on Brook Road because as people head to the school, that's where they're trying to not make that first bell. But we talked about moving the speed reader from North Country to Brook Road and replacing the one on North Country with the speed trailer. The key difference between those two is the speed reader that is there now picks up data. We have, I think, probably about a year's worth of data on North Country. It's been pretty consistent. I don't think anyone expects anything to change. The most important thing there is that sign actually does get people to slow down. So putting the trailer there would still happen, but we don't necessarily need the data. And then we can put it on Brook Road where the data might be more helpful. That's good to know. I'll ask Dennis about it because I think the impression is different than that, but worth double checking.
Also, you want to be careful of line of sight when you're coming out of Loretta Gate with the trailer. It's a little bulkier, so you just want to make sure that.
Yeah, we'll see
People
if there's
coming out
not
can see.
room to do that. It's all dependent on that. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true. That's right.
And then the other thing the council is working on, we're just going to try to get a list of kind of easy DPW fixes. So things like restriping crosswalks and things of that element. So if folks have ideas, please email the village. You can email my email, trustee-hill@portjeff.com, or send it into the clerk's office, however you prefer. But we would like to get that data and then hopefully, provide a list of things that can be done as folks have the time to do it. And then some of the things that we have coming up, I'm going to a meeting that has been coordinated by Councilmember Jonathan Kornreich's office. This is related to rideshare and drop-offs for the ferry. One of the things that I didn't talk about that was in Supervisor Cooper's report is the ongoing issue with the ferry traffic coinciding with the Danfords and the Black Pearl delivery drop-offs. There's just not enough space for all those characters to be there at the same time. But a chronic issue has just been folks getting dropped off on Broadway and then running across the street to catch their ferry. The issue that we have right now, or the solution that we would like, is that folks can drop off in the town parking lot, Brookhaven's town parking lot, but they discourage folks from using it as
There's
a
a
drop-off.
sign.
It says no
I
drop-off.
literally did that today.
So,
Yeah.
but if we can get folks to drop off there, it would
be safer.
It would be safer, yeah. So that's what that meeting is about. It'll be.
Do you know a guy?
I reached out, yeah.
And I've been in cursory discussions already.
Yeah, so we're meeting with Brookhaven Parks, because it's their parking lot, the ferry service, Councilmember Kornreich and myself will be in that meeting to hopefully figure something out on that. And then walkability, myself and Bob Larrabee from the Civic Association Walkability Working Group, we're meeting with Lisa Matto, our grants coordinator, to go over a plan. We're anticipating another round of funding for the Safe Streets for All federal grant program. It's next year is was funded for 5 years. Next year is the 5th year, or as we go into this fiscal year, that'll be the 5th year that it's funded. That was through the bipartisan infrastructure bill. So we're just trying to get all our ducks in the row so that we have a strong application for when that gets posted again. And then our monthly meeting for September is going to be moved to September 8th. I just want to double check that that is correct. Because, yeah, it's going to be September 8th, September 1st. We meet the first Monday of the month, but September 1st is Labor Day. And I think that is it for me. So if folks have questions, happy to answer as best I can.
Just an update about LISEC that's scheduled for the 23rd and 24th of this month, next weekend.
And one question related to ferry traffic. I travel that route all the time because I'm going home, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we continue to have a U-turn problem there. I mean, I think our first remediation was to paint a sign on the trash can that said no U-turns, which everybody ignored. Has there been any further discussion on what to do? Because it's now been like 2 cars in a row, and one that was not a very good driver, so there was a backup of like 5 cars in both directions because of that.
There's a no left turn sign right there. No left turn.
Yeah,
but I
that's-
don't know about the U-turn.
But I mean,
Yeah.
isn't there something we can do together with the ferry
We don't have a
company
plan on that. But we do
to?
have,
I'm thinking, maybe Kevin Cooper has some ideas, or
So there's a preliminary idea, but we haven't discussed it yet with the ferry, of sharing our resources, which would be code enforcement. Once we have enough, I'm sorry?
At their expense.
Yes. Once we have enough code enforcement officers and we're fully staffed, and it wouldn't happen for this season, but I discussed with the supervisor an idea that I had, which was we use our code enforcement officers to supplement their people and charge them back. And again, we haven't brought that to their attention yet, but I'm not sure, but I hope that they would be willing partners if that's the way the board wanted to go.
Long-term also, and that sounds like it's a traffic control issue anyway, but long-term also, they're taking down that big Ferry House building.
Right.
And they're expanding their area where cars can, queue. So that is supposed to help remediate some of that, but I'm not sure if it will even remediate all of it. So pursuit, multiple redundancies is a good idea.
I'm just happy that that progress has been made, so thank you for that. Yep.
Any other questions for Kyle?
That's it for me.
Okay, all right, Trustee Franco.
The mayor and Sylvia had sent me the regatta information, so I reached out to all 3 school districts that are in our community. They were all receptive. They all put the brochure on their website for promotion. What they did say is possibly get this to them before the end of the school year next year so that they can put it out a little bit earlier while school's still in session. So they all put it out, which was very nice. They were all very kind.
So put that on your tickler
It's already
file, okay.
It's already there.
All right.
I did meet with Superintendent Schmetten. We had a nice conversation. Schmittan, apologize. And Board Member Weaver. And we had a nice conversation about, integrating the working group and some problems they had that they want to bring to the working group. And I'm going to bring that to them. I also brought up the idea of the village incorporating a kindness award from the village to a middle schooler, to an elementary school, and to a high schooler on a monthly basis. I put together a mission statement and sent it to the superintendent. We're going to have our first meeting with the working group on the 28th of August, and then once we kind of get a little bit more of a formalized plan, I'll bring it to the mayor and the board and see if there's something we can do with that. I also spoke to Assemblywoman Cassay about the Kindness Award, and she was kind enough to say that she would work out something with the Assembly to hand out an award in June at the end of the year for all the recipients of the Kindness Award. So we're going to get that together with the working group, and we're going to push that forward. Superintendent Schmittan gave some excellent feedback, so we're in the process of working that. I want to get that first meeting going with the working group so we can kind of introduce that and get the process started. I do have meetings with the superintendent of Three Village and the superintendent of Comsawag to kind of just introduce myself, say you have a contact person, and then we're going to go, we'll move on from there to see if there are any needs that we have. I did receive one request from the superintendent of Port Jeff, and I relayed that to Kyle about potentially code helping with the first couple weeks of school for traffic management, just to kind of get the school district drop-off in rhythm when the school starts. So I passed that along to Kyle. I did have a resident, and I'm not sure how this process works. There is and it has nothing to do with it is a PTSD awareness challenge. This is the 9th year. They row from Connecticut to Port Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, and I said that I would bring it up today, is there any way that we can put this on like the Village Voice, like trying to get this a little more extra promotion for this? It's free, the food is free, the music is free, everything is free. I just think it's to honor the veterans. So I'm not sure if and I would ask the mayor and.
Do they actually book the facility?
So
Yes. Yeah.
they did
Last year.
they did book the facility and are working together with the regatta, actually, with the yacht club. And thank you for bringing that up. And in a recent meeting between myself and Renee Lemmerman and the yacht club and the gentleman that is the representative of that group, we were able to secure, Renee and I made the phone call, and Renee took the final phone call. We were able to secure a donation from the rinks to help offset venue costs for both those organizations. So the rinks donated $1,200, and this is for the takedown, because both of those organizations are within a week of each other, or maybe less, timing-wise, and both needed the rinks taken down, so we were able to secure that.
I would be remiss in saying he did say thank you for that. He brought that up to my attention. So really, I just thought this would be, you know, a wonderful event for our community to.
There's a resident who really drives that event.
So-
And
It's an amazing event.
Yeah.
I stood in for the mayor last year in opening ceremonies, and it's so needed based on many of the service members that I personally know. So I think
yes,
it's
of
a wonderful
course.
thing.
The answer
Thank
is
you.
yes.
I
to
appreciate
support.
that.
Sure.
Thank you. And I'll.
Do you want to write
coordinate-
it?
If
You
you
want to
could-
write the story? What?
Sure.
I'll edit it, but
No kidding.
no, it is an amazing event, and
The gentleman that runs the event he is a great guy, and this is an amazing event, and it's really wonderful. So I think it's something that'd be nice for us to do, and I think it's important. And I actually have, as an aside note, a bunch of patients that are veterans that live in our community that are going to get involved with this now. So I'm kind of integrating them with it. So thank you.
is that everything?
That's all I have right now. Thank
Okay. I just also want to mention the East Beach Rocks concert series that we've been hosting at East Beach every Friday night from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Sponsorship by Gito Group and the Victorian House. And it's grown in popularity every year. It's something that's been missing from our beach, and our residents at every demographic are attending. You see a bunch of kids coming down, parents with wagons, and some food vendors down there at their own expense, and they're serving it up. And the concert's very short, and we're trying to figure out what to do next year, but because they need to start breaking down before the sun sets. So it's just, we're getting a lot of positive feedback. And if anyone has ideas about how to make it better next year, maybe, like, I was talking to somebody who knows the vendors at Cooper's Beach in Southampton, the most popular, or the best beach in the world, right? According to somebody, a very qualified source. I can't remember but it is the #1 beach in the world right now, according to them. And but what they've done is they bring down an oyster shucker, and just
It's popular.
that's just one thing. I'm gonna go out there on a field trip coming up on August 24th. I literally am going out there to see what they do that makes it so popular and wonderful. They might rake the beach of all the rocks. They don't do that. And we're not doing that either. No raking. But I'm going to go check it out. No rocks on South Shore beaches. So I'm going to go check it out, see for myself what they do, and if we could bring any ideas back. And but come down every Friday night. The weather's been great, and the Arts Council books the music, and we're really trying to advertise and get folks down, and it's a great thing to do on a Friday night in the summer. So, and again, Thursday night, Harborfront concert series, and then the last concert for that series is on the ferry dock. And we use the band shell for that, the Showmobile. And that's a very popular concert that the ferry company sponsors, and it's going to be a Beatles cover band this year. So bring a beach chair and do dancing shoes. So, okay, is that it for everybody? What's next?
What's next, Mayor, is a motion, please, to enter into executive session at 8:29 PM to discuss contract negotiations and the specific performance of a particular employee. May I have a motion?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mayor, in addition, it is not expected that we will have any resolutions coming out of that session.
Okay, so Jeff, you are free to go.